After a little bit of a delay, we're finally back with Project Harmony Season 2, Week number 5. My name's Clem. Joining alongside me for the first time ever with both of us is Meep Garage, and I'm excited. Just, number one, because it's woman time, as Harrison would say, and we get the awesome opportunity to cast some of the greatest women in R6, at least at this time. And we also have, of course, this is our first time, so it's also exciting to work with someone new and someone different. Highlighting our games for today, Wildcard Queens versus Cinta Negra will be kicking us off. Later on, Thirst Trap Girls on Fire, and to wrap us up for the day will be Meep and Silly Slinkies. This is different than your typical 4-game-a-week schedule, but that's due to some implications that have happened within the recent weeks of Project Harmony, so we only have 7 teams proceeding forward with the season.
Yeah, that's correct. And as you can see coming up right now, the first game here, Wildcard Queens, Cinta Negra, this is going to be our 6th and 7th seeded teams. So not the top of the standings at the moment, but both of these teams, you know, it's still relatively early on. You look at the matches that have been played. We're only on week 5. We still have a lot more games to play, even just here in playoffs. And then or not playoffs, but the group stage stuff. And then, you know, these teams have a lot of ability to catapult forward and find themselves in a completely new part of the standings if they perform well here and continue to perform on. So I'm pretty excited to watch this game and then, you know, see what happens from there. Checking out the other games too. We later on we said that we're doing Thirst Trap and Girls on Fire. That's the 5th and 3rd place teams right now too. So that one might be a bit closer, and I'm excited for that one too.
Yeah, this game could have some serious implications for that bottom side of the leaderboard, depending on how the Silly Slinkies match ends up. You saw that there were 3 teams kind of near that 7-point barrier, and should Cinta Negra Girls get the win today, they'll get themselves in 7 point. We'd have a 3-way tie for last place at that time. But, good. Our rosters: Tycho, Miss Cute, Queen Reki, Impala, Apricot, Much High and Secret, and then there's 1 player dropped off the list because there are 8 players for Wildcard Queens. Now on the other side, for Cinta Negra Girls, Jackie, Cosette, Vane, Allison Starr, Lindsay, Pimp Maria, and I don't even know if I want to try that because I'm definitely going to get it wrong. Maybe Nalia? Or Nyla? That one's a rough one. I'm not even going to give an effort because that is rough on my side. But first, let's highlight the Cinta Negra side. Lindsay, really solid player for the Cinta Negra Girls roster, has had a very solid season and also leads the league in plants.
And you can also just see, like, look at the KPR 0.73, cost 56%. You know, it's not the greatest, but, you know, there's a reason we're highlighting this player. Lots of good stats coming out. Hopefully we'll see. I'm not entirely sure exactly. We'll get to a moment exactly which roster we're going to be playing with. So not entirely sure if Lindsay will actually be on the team right now. And then you can also see for Wildcard, we have Secret being highlighted here. Secret has the highest cost on her team, 73%, pretty solid cost across 3 games. KPR 0.76. No plants, but, you know, if you're going in as sort of an entry fragger who's getting all of those kills, you typically aren't with diffusers, so I wouldn't be alarmed at that statistic at all.
Yeah, I'd say that Cinta Negra has looked really solid in the last few weeks that I've been able to watch them. And certainly Lindsay has been a standout player. Same thing can be said on the other side for the Wildcard Queens. But Impala, I remember last season, Impala was just filthy disgusting at the game, and continues to do so here this season of Project Harmony, leading, or at least tied, for being the kill leader for this season, for Season 2 of Project Harmony, with 17 kills in their match last week. That is an impressive feat just in general and in competitive Siege, and against what has been just much tougher competition this season of Project Harmony. To still be able to drop impressive numbers like that, applauds. Absolute clappers to Impala for being able to pull off a solid, really solid scoreline last week, as we hop into our map veto to find out exactly where we'll be going for match number 1. Unfortunately, I still always seem to end up with the boring maps here in Project Harmony, and it'll happen again. Back to good old standard Clubhouse. I think it's still going to be an exciting map. Wildcard Queens have played it a few times, but as we've seen before, Meep Garage, they've not been too successful. They're 0 for 2 on Clubhouse, versus Cinta Negra have never played Clubhouse, at least for this season of Project Harmony. So maybe there's some room to be gained here for Wildcard if they've caught Cinta Negra on a map that maybe they're not comfortable on. But it could also be, again, maybe Wildcard Queens think that they're really good at Clubhouse, but they're not, and Cinta Negra Girls might just prove that tonight.
Yeah, we don't have much on Cinta Negra, but at the end of the day, it is Clubhouse. It's a team, or it's a map, sorry, that every team has played ad nauseum. You know, it's been in the game for so long. It is a staple. Every team, you have to know how to play this map in order to do it successfully. So I bet that, you know, even though we haven't seen it from Cinta Negra, they should at least have some strats and know how to do a lot of the conventional holds and conventional metas that we see. And to Wildcard's credit, both of their losses, of which, you know, they've had 2 of them, were overtime losses. So they at least pushed the matches pretty far. They made them competitive. They just couldn't clinch it out.
Yeah, I think that Wildcard scoreline is a little, I guess, off-putting for what they typically seem to be as a roster overall. They've always been a really solid team here in the Project Harmony scene, and I think that, yeah, they've just had some of those close matches that haven't ended up in their best favor to be able to close it out in regulation. So I'm excited to see if they're able to topple Cinta Negra girls here and give themselves a nice little buff going into these last couple weeks of the regular season. Or will it be the opposite, and will Cinta Negra girls get themselves a win and really start to push that bottom of the scoreboard closer to the top, rather than starting to have that distinction of the lower level teams in Project Harmony versus those teams that have really been consistently performing throughout the season?
And yeah, I mean, it's not impossible to be all the way on the bottom, you know, once you're already pretty solidly into the group stage and really catapult yourself up. We're seeing it in the North American League. If you've been catching up with that while that's been playing, we've had some teams all the way at the bottom that have had some really spectacular last couple of weeks, and now they're at the top. So it certainly is possible for both of these teams to turn it around, and it starts here and now. And we're coming out in the bans. Osa, okay, I can kind of see it, Osa, but no ban coming out for Cinta Negra's attack. Interesting. Look at that.
No ban. I'm so here for it.
No ban.
This is something that teams will do at times, definitely in scrims. It's kind of random to see it in an actual match, but a lot of times teams will not ban attackers just because it's less about what you're dealing with on the attacking side and more about the defensive side. So Cade being off the board, definitely an important ban here on Clubhouse. He's really strong, especially in that basement site. With the Tuberau pairing, it is almost impossible to trick any hatches at all. And Tuberau off the board as well leaves for a rather interesting wave of Clubhouse bans. I feel like this is like a fever dream. I don't think I've ever seen this combination of bans here on Clubhouse ever. Definitely not a no ban on Clubhouse. Almost certainly there's a hard breacher taken off the board every single time we see it. But Osa off the board is kind of random. There's a couple of spots where she can be really good, especially on Highway, where you can block off anyone trying to peek you from the CC window. Maybe also on the plat balcony when you're going for that CCTV clear. But I don't know if it warrants enough to really take that operator off the board, rather than if you're a team like Wildcard Queen starting on the defense, maybe you want to take off a hard breacher, a Thermite, a Havana, an Ace, or Maverick, maybe even Thatcher, someone that makes it just a little bit more difficult for the attackers to actually go for thought in these rounds. But based on these bans, it feels like that we may see an attacker-sided Clubhouse, just with how strong the defenders, or how strong the attackers will be going into the map. I feel like that both teams did not do an adequate job of trying to strengthen the defensive side, so instead it looks like an offensive focus for both sides.
Yeah, and we can see immediately Queen Reki on the side of Wildcard Queens picking up onto that bandit. So there is no K, there is no Tuber out, but they will still try and contest those walls. But when you're going up against Koss, who's on Ace, and Vanix, who's on Thermite, it's going to be especially difficult to get those, or to prevent those walls from getting open, just because those Selmas work a little too fast. And once it gets just a part of the wall open, it's going to be too difficult for Bandit to continue to trick those things, because there's going to be too much pressure coming through that open wall. And you can see, unfortunately, it's like some people accidentally maybe got removed or, crashes. It happens out of the game. I'm not entirely sure if we'll continue from here.
Yeah. Seems like we've got a rehost. Yeah, it appears as though it's going to be a rehost for the teams. I have no idea.
Play it out.
They still got 3 members playing it out. Okay, it looks like Cinta Negra are going to confirm and just back themselves out of the lobby. Whether this will result in a Wildcard Queen's first round win due to a forfeit or not is out of our control and out of our hands, but it gives us a little bit more time to highlight this match and highlight these teams going forward. Again, both of them not really having the best season so far, right? You've got Wildcard Queens down in that 6th place position. You've got Cinta Negra girls down in 7th place. So this is a big match, Meep. I don't think we've done a good enough job yet of highlighting and emphasizing how important right, that this match is for both these teams, because for playoffs, for seeding, you want to be as highly seeded as possible and go up as far as possible. And I don't think that Cinta Negra Girls has really gotten into the thick of things against most of those higher tiered teams here in Project Harmony, the ones that are placed in first, second, third place. I don't think Cinta Negra Girls has really gotten their fair shot at them too. So this could be a huge match for them, getting this win and then trying to propel themselves as they go against those tougher teams in these later weeks.
Yeah, I mean, and they're also only separated by one game. Wildcard Queens coming up in, as of this week, week 5, they're 2-3, and I believe Cinta Negra is 1-3, so, you know, they're not too far off. One win can move them a lot. They can make a lot of difference right now. So certainly very important. And, you know, I'm also just, in terms of individual players and whatnot, we are shouting out some of the players you were seeing. Impala from Wildcard got a shout out as the MVP from last week. So I'm really excited to see some of these individual players who we're highlighting, we're seeing as really competitive performers. I want to see them bring it here as well and have a really good individual showdown. You know, who's the best here? But we'll have to wait a second before we can get into that. In the meantime, I actually kind of want to talk quickly. I want to quickly talk about the schedule for just this moment. Our next game after this one, so, you know, don't go anywhere after this game, but we have Thirst Trap and Girls on Fire, which is 5th and 3rd ranked teams right now. So a very competitive one. They're both 3-1. I'm really looking forward to that game as well. So after this one, we'll see who kind of makes it into the middle of the pack. But then after the second game, after that one I was just talking about, we're going to see who kind of at the very top, and that's going to be a big determining game.
Yeah, I think that a lot of the games this point in the season, just kind of how it all lined up conveniently, right? We're doing a round robin bracket, so everyone plays everyone here in Project Harmony for the season, and it's kind of convenient that all these games seem to matter here in week number 5, but unfortunately, we do need to head to a break because of some of the technical issues that we've had. We'll be back in a few minutes once we've got everything wrapped up and we can get into our first round of Clubhouse. Well, after a couple of lobby issues, we've finally gotten ourselves back and ready for our match here between Wildcard Queens and Cinta Negra. Of course, I'm Klimps, joined alongside me is Meet Garage, and we're finally able to get into round number 1 of Clubhouse. We were talking about the bans earlier being a little bit awkward. We had Osa, a no ban, Tuberao, and Cade, so that's why you see the bans listed as the way they are above. I don't think there's a way to list a no ban like properly for the attackers on in the game. So that's interesting. That's like a cool little bug we found, I guess. I don't know. It says Cinta Negra banned 2 defenders. That's so electric.
No, you can just do that actually. No one ever does. Oh. Okay. Heiko, I'm not exactly sure what happened there, but suicide with a C4, I guess, gonna take Valkyrie. Oh, you know what it was? I believe it's because, yeah, you can see in the chat going right now, Valkyrie was not one of the ops that Wildcard Queens had previously before we went to the tech break. You have to come back and choose the exact same operators as you did prior to the break, so did the noble thing, blew themselves up. Very often is noble, or very rare is that the noble thing to do, just to blow.
I respect it.
I do too.
I respect it.
Still have the bandit, but that's what I was shouting at last time. I just quickly want to have the bandit. That's going to be responsible for getting rid of both Selma's and the exothermic charges. That's going to be a difficult thing to do.
Yeah, the bandit is definitely going to be key here for Wildcard Queens, just to try to deny those walls from being up, and especially being down a member. It's also going to be a little bit more difficult in this round just to fight back. So I expect Wildcard Queens to try to get a little bit more active early on in this round, try to even out that man count, and try at least to get themselves back into a winning position here on the defensive gym bedroom. It's always good to start off here on Clubhouse with a defensive win. Secret's got to be careful of that con window. It's been cracked open slightly. I'm shocked to not see a castle barricade there, considering Apricot is running the castle, but we're there.
And see, just doing a pretty standard work so far. They're opening up some of that CCTV wall, starting to put a little pressure in there. Drones coming through, also spotting out Secret, who's on Fenrir, lurking around in cache. So Cinta Negra just doing kind of their due diligence, making sure that they can clear this rest of the top floor before they actually start pushing onto site and getting their execute all lined up. And it's just really a matter of how long can Wildcard Queens delay here, because even if they don't lead in man, even if they're down a person, if they can delay a lot of time, the clock will start to play for them as the defenders. It'll be on the attackers to push through, and they can really struggle if that clock gets down to that 20-second range and they still haven't gotten that diffuser down. So you just have to stay alive if you're Wildcard Queens right now. You just have to delay as much time as possible. Cinta Negra getting things ready and getting things opened up even more. It's Demonly with the first real pick of this match, shutting down Secret. That's cache cleared, and they can start to pressure now from that construction site and really put pressure on both sides of site here.
Koss still playing on the highway windows, able to take out the Cave of Barrier, and able to fall shortly after. Lindsay takes down Green Wrecking, so it's RJ, last member alive here. The Azami playing close on the island, but there's just nowhere she's going to be able to go. She'll find one and get a pick on the Lindsay, but Cinta Negra cleaning full house here inside of the master bedroom, and unfortunately, we will have to hit another rehost as we are not on the correct server, so I'm not sure if that round will stand. My guess is it will, but Cinta Negra at least looked really solid on that first round. But again, kind of another wonky round. It seems like this Saturday morning we were starting off with just all sorts of silliness, right? We've got server issues, we've got ping stuff,
suicides having themselves up.
Yeah, everything seems to be hitting the fan. We're really touching every single possible metric that we can find here this morning for R6. So I think we'll not waste too much time. We'll go to a break, and when we're back, hopefully everything is as it should be, and we'll be able to continue from there. Third time's the charm, hopefully here, Meet Garage, for Project Harmony Week 5. And
Third
maybe...
time's the charm, indeed.
Maybe, just maybe, we'll get to see the first round played out to completion. I'm hoping so, because we're just slightly behind schedule, but that's okay. Technical issues and all things besides the point. We get to go to bedroom. We get to go to gym. Tycho might fully live through the round this time because I think they're on the right operator.
Yep,
so,
they're on Jaegers. They're good.
I don't think we're going to have any sort of wackiness out of this. Of course, we did scratch the last round due to it being ping-related between the teams. It wasn't because of the death of Tycho, who intentionally ended their own life because they were on the wrong operator. Instead, it was due to the ping. The server was not set properly. So we've got ourselves set up, hopefully, on East US, because Wildcard Queens primarily out of the EU and Cinta Negra out of Mexico. So these two teams are playing quite a far ways away.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how international this tournament really is. We have lots of players from EU. We have players from North America, Central America. You know, we get a lot more players than what I'm typically used to when I cast. You know, I'm obviously just doing a lot of North American teams. So it's a lot of fun to have this sort of diversity and kind of see the international styles of play, even if I can't necessarily always tell the different styles when I'm seeing.
It's like our mini-own SI or international LAN, right? Because we get to see...
I actually think this is bigger, though.
Play.
This is bigger.
Well, of course.
It's far more important.
They're playing to be the best woman in Rainbow Six Siege.
It's women time. It's women time.
As Harrison would say. Shout out to Harrison.
Shout out to Harrison. Shout out to Crow.
Don't fly him to a land, though. He eats too much. So it'll just cause you to go broke, your budget-wise. It's 2 for 2 in doing so. Can confirm. Went to a ramen place when we were in Columbus, and he bought the most expensive thing on the menu for everyone. And he didn't buy it. It was the TD that did buy it, but that's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Well, 60 seconds down. Not much has really happened, just the standard procedure here for Wildcard Queens and Cinta Negra on both sides. Cinta Negra getting open that jacuzzi wall now, able to apply even more pressure to the bedroom side of the map. But I'm curious to figure out where their main push is going to come from. They've had a couple times at least to kind of dry run and scheme out their take, so it should be really clean here from Cinta Negra, I could only imagine.
Yeah, I think we can already see a little bit of a difference coming out from Wildcard, because they did lose. Obviously, that round didn't stand, but they did lose that one time we actually got to completion for this round. It's Moy was hanging out in master bedroom as a zombie, running around, got shut down. Now positioning and doing a much stronger hold here in construction. So I think potentially this will be safer. It'll also allow Moy to assist with Secret. Remember, Secret was the first one to go down in the previous time where we actually played this round out. So assisting Secret can help a lot. It's already going better for Wildcard Queens. It's Lindsay to be the first one off the board. That's Grim taken out. Moy gets another one. Assisting Secret shuts down Demonly. Much better turnout here for Wildcard Queens. We're just under a minute left in time, and there's only 3 attackers left, all 5 defenders left. Man advantage, I should say woman advantage, favoring Wildcard Queens. They still have their hard breach. They still have a Dokumi, so this logic bomb can go off, but it's going to be a tough fight if you're Cinta Negra right now.
That cost has a really big impact here on the round, walking up the main stairs here, and unfortunately that FNAP mine is why Fenrir is just such a strong and potent defender, and definitely my favorite operator ban in any map, and especially here on Clubhouse because of how close these combat quarters are. The next, try to walk on through. Valky as well, also losing her life. When last member alive is Cost, they try to make their way up the main stairs. There's really not much the Ace is going to be able to do here from Highway. They've got 5 guns trained on them. And Secret to find that final kill, a flawless round, much more different than how the last round played out here on Clubhouse. And it'll be Wildcard Queens starting off with the first defensive win.
My fingers crossed right now. Nothing's happening. I think we've made it. We got the first round.
Knock on wood, everyone.
All right, we got it. It's in the books. Now we can really start going. Cinta Negra, how are they going to respond to this? They struggled a bit in terms of finding that opening pick. They weren't able to really get it. There was I really like. You can see, I like what we're seeing from It's Moy right here. They have those Kiva barriers up so they can play uncontested from that construction window. They have the head holes into cash. They can assist with their player that was in cash. I like that sort of play because you just can provide a lot of different angles from multiple locations and just make all of that top floor really hard to take because everyone is supporting, all of the defenders are supporting each other. Really well played. We'll see how Cinta Negra have to adapt to that.
Yeah, I will say it is interesting here on the defensive side to see a Thunderbird be brought out. I don't recall the last time I've seen Thunderbird played in a competitive game. It's been a while.
Yeah, it sure has.
5 seconds left.
Because, I mean, she used to be really, really strong, right? You'd see lots of Thunderbird play. The shotgun was even viable, but with the recent change in the season, shotguns are a little bit weaker than before, and then also the healing Kona stations are just not as good. I feel like a Doc is just more suitable as an operator than Thunderbird, but maybe RJ is going to play. Maybe RJ is just an absolute dog on the spear and with the bearing 9, and maybe that's the entire basis as to why they've decided to bring out the T-Bird themselves. But starting off with the attack here, Cinta Negra working for a full clear. They've got themselves entered inside a garage, and they've got to work their way all the way through CCTV, bedroom, cash, clear out the Solus, clear out anyone else up here. The issue is, I saw a drone go all the way into bedroom, but no one followed it up, so effectively it was a wasted drone, wasted information, and the Solus of Secret is just going to be able to run around as free as she can be.
And that can be a huge detriment for the attack. If you just have, not only is it a roamer, but it's a roamer with really good intel. She can activate her gadget, spot out things like air jabs, claymores, other drones that may be potentially watching flank. So an absolute nightmare on the roam. And there you go. RJ with that spear being the first one to get another opening pick onto Lindsay, who's having a bit of a struggle here, making things work out. That's the Dokumi gone really early on. Those logic bombs not going to be able to assist at all. And it gets bad, and it gets even worse, I should say, as Secret finds another pick. We're once again in a 5v3. Wildcard's definitely favored to take this here. The attackers hitting goo mines, slowing down their position, being given away, HP drained. It's just going to be a struggle here. And you also look who we have remaining. They've got 2 3-speeds who will be shut down pretty quickly in terms of HP. They're just a lot. They don't have nearly as much HP. It'll be a quick gunfight if they get caught off guard. And with the damage that's already been done to them, it'll happen even faster. So we really have to expect some great individual performances here from Demonly, from Lily, from Vanny, if there is going to be hope of maybe taking this round in, converting it somehow. But I don't know. It might be a foregone conclusion already.
I love the wraparound from RJ and Secret, rotating all the way upstairs on the map after having that power duo there on the main stairs. and then ending up all the way down secret stairs and getting back to the bomb site after doing their job of getting those openers. Apricot will also get in on the action this round. And really, it's just Tycho who needs to find a kill or two, maybe even the last two, to balance out this leaderboard here for the Wildcard Queens. Lily will try to walk in through blue and just make a play. The Soul was caught looking the wrong way, and suddenly the IQ has found their way to the bomb site. The issue is there's 20 seconds left, there's no control, and they don't know where their remaining opponents remain. Reki will clean up on to the IQ of Lily Valky, and Tycho the Valkyrie finishing off onto the Havana. Wildcard Queens, two really strong rounds, and that's off the back of just really well played extensions.
It's really well played extensions. It's really great intuition from the individual roamers who are out and about, and just how they play, how they poke, how they retreat. But in addition, those roamers are playing together really well. The way that they cover each other, the way that they are maybe holding adjacent rooms or rooms where they maybe have angles to look at each other and see and guard one another's flanks has been really successful, and it's just made it almost impossible for Cinta Negra to find a consistent way to shut down those roamers without in turn losing a couple bodies themselves.
Reloading.
Now we transition over to CCTV, see if Wildcard Queens can't complete a flawless defensive stint. For the first half of the defense. Got the Azami for Rafters, certainly a very important operator here on Clubhouse. I honestly like the defensive setup overall. Maybe one would trade the Frost for the typical smoke, but Frost can also still be really solid on the site. Lots of windows to stop other opponents from hopping in on, and also just having a Frostman at the top of Rafters can stop any sort of Montaigne push that people like to often have inside of CCTV and Garage as RJ begins to set up defensive fortifying positions there on the Rafters, and Azami certainly makes that position much easier and safer to play, especially if you've got someone like Secret who can also band-aid and support with Womidus to deny any projectiles and throwables that might come their way.
A little bit of interaction there between RJ and Apricot, but you can see once again, I like how these teams are supporting each other. Apricot has these Kiba barriers to prevent them from that window that looks into CCTV, so that way Bandit can consistently and safely play on that double wall for CCTV, put those Bandit batteries down, make it hard for that exothermic charge that Vanix is bringing to go off. You know, the Bandit tricking coming out, I like how much Bandit tricking I've been seeing, specifically in this tournament. I've been seeing a lot of Bandit being brought, especially on Club, with just how many important walls, exterior walls, I should say, there are on Club. We've been seeing a decent amount of Bandit. First engagement already happening. It's Tycho gonna be found out lurking in master bedroom. Lily getting that opening pick, so things finally going the way of Cinta Negra in the beginning. Of course, they have to continue this lead, and they have to keep it and make it work for the rest of the round. We're really early on into the round, so it's a quick opening pick, and there's not an immediate response back from Wildcard Queens. So Cinta Negra have maybe a bit of time here. They can say, we have man advantage, now let's get our ducks in a row, let's make things happen, let's stack up on these important areas. A great ping coming out, almost going to give Secret a pick, but just probably a couple inches off with those bullets. So right now, Wildcard Queen's going to have to potentially aggress to find a pick to even things out if they want to make this round go their way. But other than that, good opening for Cinta Negra. I like what I'm seeing. Potentially some adaptation coming out to counter the defense of Wildcard Queens.
And now it comes down to Cinta Negra just confirming and performing and executing in the end. Where is her next? Are they going to rotate the Thermite over inside the construction? Or are they going to keep that main pressure on the CCTV wall? Queen Reki will even out the counters evenly. Falls, unfortunately, 0 for 3 starting off this map. And Lindsay is applying an excellent amount of pressure, but where is the Thermite of the next? That is what I would love to see, a big rotation out of the side of Cinta Negra, get that con wall open, really start to leverage that pressure, because I think that they've got a better chance, if they work their way through con, to close out this round.
Coming into the last 30 seconds here, the defenders still have these really powerful positions, so even though things have been tied up, the defenders going to definitely have the advantage here, as they just haven't been shut down. But as I say that, Lily finds a pick. It's traded pretty quickly back. Apricot finding one, Lindsay with another, but Queen Reki's down. That means it's an effective 1v3 here for Secret to clutch out. Mannix getting that plant down, going to have to shift positions as Secret finds one. Secret still on Rafters, and they know this, so they're going to switch to the other side of that CCTV rack. They have coverage. Lily not able, or Secret not able to make that gunfight work, and Lily just wins it out, holding this really thin angle, has the information on the swing, is able to do a good shutdown there on that post plant coverage.
really solid attack out of Cinta Negra girls. I feel like they still could have potentially rotated over to CCTV or to the con side of the map and maybe had a little bit easier of a time getting in the building, but it works regardless, so it doesn't really matter what I say. If what they do works, then hey, give them credit, because they had a really solid job of just getting the walls open, getting the jobs done that needed to be performed in that round, and eventually finding themselves inside of the building and getting that diffuser down. Lily with a really early entry as the gridlock inside of Logi. Kind of shocking to see a gridlock able to get in so early on, but really had a lot of impact there in the round. And Secret, I wish that she could have done more here from the Rafters position, but unfortunately, being in this spot, it is tough to discern whether or not you need to be peeking more aggressively or more passively. And had Secret been maybe a little bit more aggro on the breach to be able to call that walk in and at least do some chip damage, if not get a kill, maybe you see Wildcard Queens walk away with a 3-0 half. Unfortunately, though, for them, that's not the case, and Cinta Negra will at least get one attack for themselves, and I expect them to get maybe one or two more here to get an even 3-3 split.
Just eyeing Demon Link, hopping onto that Amaru. We also see coming out Ascends to cut off lines of sight, a Ying to pretty much do the same, to blind and cut off lines of sight with those smokes that Ying can bring, as well as a Grim. So looking at Cinta Negra's roster, almost certainly looks like a very explosive roster. If they don't do an immediate rush, I expect them all to stack up on site and push in very quickly, all simultaneously, and just execute incredibly fast. They also have a Thermite to make sure everything can get opened up. So Wildcard Queens have some utility, like a Castle to slow it down, like Kiva Barriers to make new angles, and like those Dreadnought Mines from Fenrir. But will it be enough to stop this aggressive rush that Cinta Negra might be bringing? I don't know.
It seems like this is just going to be a really fast, like, Logi drop, potentially opening up the Jacuzzi wall, and my guess is that Demon Lee is going to enter into Bar and Amaru up the gym hatch while there's Sense Gadgets going off, Ying Candela is flashing, all this distraction happening so that that diffuser can go down. It seems like a really well thought out strategy and plan, but it has to be executed to perfection, and so far, if they're not able to get this Jacuzzi wall, their entire plan could be thwarted. The Bandit trick not in time, so the Jacuzzi wall will be open and moving forward with their attack goes Cinta Negra, just waiting on Demon Lee now to get inside of the strip club so that they can work their way up the gym hatch and get this diffuser down.
Well, so now they have an easy entry into the building. It's just a matter of deploying that utility and committing to the push. See, Koss already taking a lot of HP damage in some engagement. We're not seeing that's over half of Koss's health taken out. Those first of those Kalana Hives coming out from Grim. We're seeing some of these Sens walls going out, but these Jaeger ADSs are catching some of it. So it looks like we're stacking up for the push. We hear that Amaru go off. Demon Lee is Amaru'd into the site, getting plant down. Coverage by this wall. First pick goes the way of the defense, though. It's quickly answered back. The diffuser does get down, but Demon Lee shut down almost immediately after, just a second too late to stop the diffuser. Lindsay is down, so it's an effective 2v or a 3v2. Favoring Wildcard Queens. RJ hitting that diffuser. Do they know about this? Do they have an
Where's the cover?
They do not. They're nowhere near it. Diffuser is stopped, and just like that, Wildcard Queens take the round.
Cinta Negra had everything set up perfectly. They got the Jacuzzi wall opened, but they forgot to open the gym bedroom barricade. And the Sense was on the windows. She had the grenades, but the Sense had used their gadget, or the nades rather, to clear off the Bandit from bandit tricking instead of saving one for those castle barricades on the windows. And unfortunately, it was such a well thought out plan. It was so set up, but poor execution in the very end for the post plant for Cinta Negra. I loved the way that they went for this plant, and even if the Sense walls didn't quite match exactly what they needed, it seemed like one of them landed maybe a little bit further from Koss, but it was really well thought out. It was well done, and they executed the beginning perfectly. They got the diffuser down, they got themselves in the position they needed, they just forgot the one key part, the post plant. When the diffuser is down, how can we stop them from getting the counter defuse? Maybe someone goes downstairs and sits under the bar hatch. You had that control because that's how the Amaru got in to get that diffuser down in the first place, or maybe it wasn't in the plans for the Amaru to die, so that the Amaru of Demon Lee could have dropped back down the hatch, played the post plant from there, and it just really worked out well for Wildcard Queens that Cinta Negra weren't able to get into their post plant positions in time before a couple of members had passed away in the round. That being said, though, Wildcard Queens getting a solid gym defensive win. We'll go back to basement and try to match the same result as last time around here, getting another win and getting themselves at least 4 defensive rounds. It's ideal here for Clubhouse on the defensive side.
maybe remembering this incorrectly, but I think after RJ got the kill onto Demon Lee got the plant down, immediately died to RJ. RJ used a Cuba barrier to block off the master bedroom window, so then she could just hit the diffuser without fear of getting shot, and that's what made the members of Cinta Negra rotate around and kind of take these, or take too long to get there. Not taking too long, however. Lindsay opening up right away, not even having to use any of those scans from Jackal in order to get that first pick, now starting to use them. I think what we see from Cinta Negra here is that they didn't work on the rush. The roam game, or the roam clear, hasn't been too good. Let's bring out a Jackal, let's bring out a Dokkaebi as well. Let's start clearing things out, and it's starting to work. They've already found RJ and Secret, who have both been kind of thorns in their side of roaming around the map, causing little destruction everywhere they go, and Cinta Negra shuts both of them down really early on and has at least most of the map control they need now.
Last time around on Basement, it was the power duo of RJ and Secret who were a big thorn in the side to the Cinta Negra attack, sitting on the main stairs. Now both of them have been eliminated. Demon Lee has so much control early on, being here at the bottom of main stairs, trying to clap away at this barbed wire and get rid of it, but Cinta Negra have set themselves in an excellent spot for this attack. They've got the triple wall opened up. I mean, there's so much good control. Demon Lee just needs to try to either stay alive or at least do a little bit more damage here if they do end up falling. Two members of Cinta Negra drop to just a sliver of HP. One Goomine from Ankle placed properly can take out one or even both of these last couple members. Tycho has hit the floor though and will not be revived, so effectively it's a 1 versus 4 as Demon Lee walks in taking down Apricot. An excellent attack here out of Cinta Negra girls. Queen Reki, last member alive, and they'll die swiftly to Lily Valky covering from the main hallway. Wow, just complete decimation by Cinta Negra girls on the attack, denying Wildcard Queens of a basement win. And it's a really big round for Cinta Negra girls to win because it guarantees them at least a 4-2 split.
They got that split. You know, they can try and even it up here at the half, but if they don't, if they walk away with this with only 2 rounds on their attacking half, it's not too much to worry about. They'll go onto the favored side pretty soon, and there it's a whole different story. I want to just once again highlight how good that roam clear was, and then you saw once they had the roam clear successfully done, they take out these 2 people. A little bit of a messy fight here for RJ. Just can't find that headshot, however close it may have looked there, but the roam clear, excellent from Cinta Negra. They shut down those 2 roamers, and then they just hit site really hard and really fast, and there's nothing Wildcard Queens is able to do about it. And it worked really well, and I think we're probably going to see a similar thing happening. We already see Lindsay potentially going to bring that Jackal. Toss once again on Dokkaebi. You know, it looks like it worked once. They might as well do it again. It's up to Wildcard Queens now to kind of throw a curveball and say, we're not just going to let you clear our roamers out that easily. They have to go back, support those roamers, create utility and infrastructure that allow those roamers to be safe and focus on a few specific angles or a few specific parts of the map without worrying about being, attacked from behind or something like that.
I always like to look at both sides from an analytical sense at that midway point just to see how both teams are doing when it comes to the spread of kills. And Wildcard Queens, not lopsided at all. Everyone's doing their part, everyone's got their job done. On the other side for Cinta Negra, it is very heavily one-sided towards Lily Valky, who's currently sitting at 8-2. Arguably carrying Cinta Negra maybe through these rounds a little bit. It's just the positioning that she's gotten in and the shots that she's been able to land. Not to discredit any of the other members, but if the other members are also able to pick themselves up here, especially going into that side swap, we could really see a heavy swing in favor of Cinta Negra girls if Lily continues this power storm that she's on and the other members begin to get themselves a little bit more confident as more kills pile up on the board in their favor.
Yeah, kills aren't everything, but at the end of the day, if you kill the other team, it does just win you the round. So they are very important. And yeah, Lily doing a great job, but we're still waiting on some of the other players to find some kills here. A kill almost found by Demon Lee, just once again a few inches away from finding the head of Tycho there, but not going to work. So Tycho will be safe. We'll be able to make that call out there. The attack is at least doing a little bit of a push from dirt. Meanwhile, all these other hatches are being opened. We've been seeing a lot of Hibana brought out just because of that hatch queen ability that she can just open them all up really efficiently. Once again, I like what Cinta Negra have been doing. Even when it hasn't been super successful, they've been so thorough when it comes to clearing the map, when it comes to getting things open and using the utility they need to do. I know it's Clubhouse, so pretty much everyone plays it in this very thorough and conventional way, but they've been doing those basic stuff really well. It's just been struggling when it comes to gunfights and roam clear, really, but Wildcard Queens hasn't let up their roamers at this point. They're not roaming as aggressively. I think they're all huddling up in sight, and they're not letting the Jackal or Dokkaebi find them out so quickly.
RJ going to fall at the bottom of main stairs and ends up losing their life. Demon Lee also getting in on the action, Cost taking down the Apricot. So a couple of members already falling early on. Cinta Negra really solid on this basement attack. Cost is in the middle of back armory, and no one has a clue from the wildcard side. Cost looking to hit the phone call, but Secret's just down to a sliver of HP. Lindsay will clean up the last two members. It's a flawless attack on the basement of Clubhouse out of Cinta Negra. And I wanted to make the comment that I felt like Cinta Negra had the operators well picked out for their roam clear, but since Wildcard Queens weren't really roaming, the Cinta Negra lineup kind of punished them because they didn't have a lot of utility. They didn't have nades. They didn't have anything to clear the Maestro Hobos. The only thing they could have relied on if they went for an execute would have been the Dokkaebi phone call, but the entire Wildcard Queens defense just fell apart right in front of Cinta Negra for them to take full advantage of that position. And wow, the AK rack saving the life of Secret, maybe for a little bit longer. But my point being, that felt like that should have been a Wildcard Queens round just purely off of the fact that they kind of won that battle of that mind game set of got the better utility for the late round post plant, forcing Cinta Negra to go for that. But if you're not able to stay alive long enough and not able to make sure that everyone's holding what needs to be held to stop them from just waltzing into the site, then you're going to lose the round regardless of what your opponents might have set up. As Demon Lee is finally able to take out that drone. But yeah, wow, a really, really great attack just out of Cinta Negra, and now it's on Wildcard Queens. They've got to match that same energy that was just brought out.
Bomb located by attack.
Yeah, Cinta Negra, I think, showing some really solid adaptability there. Is like you were saying, they brought these roam clear operators, but they didn't really have to use them at all because no one was roaming, and so they pretty quickly realized, well, we're not going to, spend all of our time clearing out the rest of the map. We can just start picking them apart in sight, and that's exactly what happened. And yeah, it was a completely flawless round. So let's see if Cinta Negra are going to potentially have a better performing defensive half, or maybe it's going to go 3-3 again, and we're going to tie it out. I already see some operator differences coming out. We're seeing Thorn, we're seeing Mira, who I don't believe Wildcard Queens brought Mira, though. Mira's very popular on this map. There are a number of places where Mira is just incredibly strong, especially on second floor, and holds so much stuff. RJ has had a pretty solid game opening up, finds Demon Lee, though. Unfortunately, it's Secret also going to be leaving, not entirely sure why. So it will become a 4v4, and I think they'll still play it out just like that.
Yes.
But still, opening pick, going to shut down that Azami pretty early on, too. So a number of those Azami barricades that generate with time, or those Azami barriers, not going to be able to be used. That's a decent amount of utility taken off of the board from Cinta Negra.
I didn't think Zophia's M762 had that many bullets in it, so I had a feeling that Secret may have crashed out of the lobby. Unfortunate for Wildcard Queens after they were able to secure the opening pick, but getting that Azami is certainly, as you mentioned, a very important kill, especially this early on, because Azami's worth only becomes even more and more impactful and viable as the round goes on. She gets 5 Kiva Bears, only 2 of them start off in prep phase. Anything after that happens during the action, so certainly going to be missing out on a couple of those barriers inside will be the Cinta Negra growth defense, and they'll have to rely on those mirrors and maybe those traps of the FNAT mines and the razor blooms of the Thorn to try to deny just a little bit stronger. Lindsay's still roaming inside of Strip Club. I mean, this is a really good position to be in as well, because Wildcard Queens are really slow on their attack. They're still clearing the top floor. They've only got 60 seconds left, and they still have to worry about the bomb site.
I mean, I know that they did lose a person, but yeah, they got to be moving quickly. Secret's back in the lobby, so hopefully, next round will go good. RJ finding another pick to make sure that Wildcard Queens can stay in this and stay relevant for this round. It's a pick onto Lindsay, so that's another really recent defender taken off the board, as Fenrir is now down. Of course, Fenrir's gadget's mostly still out and still active, so all of Fenrir's utility isn't completely taken away like it was when Azami was killed. They still got to worry about those mines, but last 30 seconds coming into it, it's going to be on the attackers here. They really have to make sure they can find it. All of the smokes have been used, all the toxic tapes, so it's really going to be down to Vanix and that final remaining Nitro Cell as the denial here. Of course, Wildcard Queens going to be rushing in. They don't exactly know where people are. They're tanking a lot of damage. It's going back and forth. That C4 will find one, but it's not going to necessarily stop Plant as Reki's getting it down. RJ is down as well, so it's an effective 2v3. Plant will go down before Reki can be killed, and both of the attackers are down. They're both finished off. It's a pretty easy retake for Cinta Negra, who barely have to do anything to win that out and get this defuse off.
Yeah, unfortunately, Wildcard Queens just got too desperate in the end of the round there. I don't think the best call there was just to run 3 people through the moto door and pray that everything was going to work out. I think that maybe a kitchen drop would have been a slightly better option. It just seemed like Wildcard Queens panicked because of how little time they had left due to their struggle of dealing with the roam and dealing with information, and that may have been attributed due to the fact of the crash out of the lobby from Secret. But my point being is that Wildcard Queens, unfortunately, just missing out on the right call to make at that moment, and that's probably due to a lack of information and a little bit of a lack of time that they had in the round for the clear. This is just so tragic. This is so rude. Dap typed out that he was preparing a replay of Demonly fighting demons with the drone. It may be a little bit of a stone. Hey, listen, Demonly got the drone, so in the end, does it really matter? Doesn't matter.
How many bullets did it take? We don't have to worry about it.
Maybe that should be a stat. Bullets per drone. That would be an awesome stat if we could track that. Oh,
I think it'd be awesome just because imagine the poor soul that would have to count how many bullets each player is using per drone and then total everything up.
5 seconds.
I'm recommending that to the NAL. Have fun.
Attackers are moving.
Well, you can see they're bringing a mute this time. We haven't seen a whole lot of mute being brought up, despite the fact that Haid and Tubarao have both been banned and not allowed. It's obvious the bandit would come out. I kind of suspected we'd see mute at some point just because it's another great way to deny the walls from being opened up, or at least it makes it more difficult for the attack. But Wildcard Queens never brought mute while they were on defense, but we are seeing that come out from Cinta Negra, so that might make it slightly more difficult here to get this wall open. But of course, Queen Reki already going to be starting. We're going to see those EMPs go off, so that wall most likely will get open, and no bandit tricking on it. That's going to give Wildcard Queens an easy entry into the map, but of course, it's going to be pretty hotly contested from every other angle. So they have to clear out rapids, they have to clear out a bunch of stuff before they can just rush through that hole.
It's the pretty standard part of CCTV and cache on Clubhouse, right? Everyone at this point on defense expects that main wall to get open. You're pretty used to playing around it. It does certainly make it a little bit more tricky, but that's why you bring the bandits, just to try to stall out a little bit more time and try to force the time denial to be the biggest factor as of why it took so long to get that wall open. It's a heavy extension presence here downstairs by Cinta Negra, and Demonly kills one just hopping in. I don't know why Secret went for that play, but it seems like it's just a full-on rush into the bomb site. April's getting this diffuser down, and Koss is just an inch away, but doesn't even know that the Thatcher's in the site. Diffuser's gone down. All of a sudden, a retake must ensue. Cinta Negra is still somehow on top, but they have the post-plant positioning of Wildcard to deal with. You've got the repel. You've got a C4. Maybe that finds it. It does. What a throw by Vanex, and it's only RJ downstairs. The Buck, sure, the Skeleton Key can do the vertical play below, but you've got to make sure you have enough time to find the shots. There's no ammo left. The Gon 6 comes out. What a retake by Cinta Negra. They get themselves up 5-3 here on Clubhouse.
Defender mission success.
Really unfortunate way for that round to go. We've seen now, I think, 2 very explosive, quick rushes into site to try and get plants down from both teams, and neither of them work. You just sacrifice so much when you push that quickly in. You sacrifice so much when it comes to information and stability that once you get the plant down, you do not have any safe place to stand and cover that diffuser, and it just means the defenders can come in, get a bunch of easy picks, and grab that and just win the round for them. And that's exactly how it went. That Buck being down below, pulling up the Gon 6, really unfortunate. Had Buck had a pistol, potentially that fight is winnable, and you can continue playing from below. Really difficult to fight back if your defender's trying to get rid of the diffuser while someone from below is obviously using a skeleton key and shredding your shins. But you pulled up the Gon 6. We've all done that. We've all pulled out our gadget or something like that in the middle of an engagement and just gotten shut down. It happens. At least it hit him with the Gon 6.
It's so unlucky because RJ had a full magazine of the C8 ammunition, but they were swapped over to the skeleton key in panic that the reload was going to deny that animation. He could have swapped it off. I think it would have been a little bit faster, and maybe RJ has a chance to get that kill. But even then, she has to flick upwards now and try to find that player getting the counter defuse on, and still potentially deal with the mute who could have been running around downstairs as well. So there was a lot to deal with there in that moment. And unfortunately, the Buck just not going to be too optimal in that post-plant position with the control that Wildcard Queens did not have in that moment. We go to Gym Bedroom now, the third bomb site here for Cinta Negra. It's the site that Wildcard Queens loved so much that they were starting on it. And Cinta Negra, well, it's their third tertiary option. So it's always interesting to note those key differences, because that may be just a fact of the matter of the LATAM region versus the EU region that both of these teams do distinguishedly come from.
Yeah, it's very interesting, especially here in NA. I think it's safe to say that Gym Bedroom has kind of become the first pick site for a lot of teams. It's a site that a lot of teams have grown to love a lot because of its safety, and because, you know, maybe you can get an early pick like that. Lily's had a phenomenal game right now. Finds an opening pick onto the Buck, who's, once again, if you're a Buck, you're going to struggle right now against Cinta Negra. Shutting down RJ, that's going to make things difficult, especially if, once again, Buck was planning on maybe going below and opening some stuff up, but at least it's not a major operator getting shut down like your Hard Breach or like your Thatcher. They can still at least get the walls open and make that work, but it's going to be a lot more difficult now for Wildcard.
Because you all opened up with ease, it's so difficult to try to get the bandages off on that wall unless you're trying to juggle with like a zombie barricade, also just a little bit of extra help by pressuring on the gym window. That's not to happen though. Secret getting an evening pick back onto Demon Lee, coming a little bit later on, but Lily has just really been such a strong player here for the Cinta Negra side. It seemed that way all season. It felt like that season, or that way for last season in Project Harmony, but Secret also stepping up, getting a couple of picks back. Wildcard Queens looking in favor here to potentially find themselves, but maybe Secret overextending too much. Where's the drone? You got a minute left to still work your way in through the CCTV side. You had teammates over there. It just seems like Wildcard Queens are rushing themselves rather than working as a team. They get a little too confident, and I respect it. I respect it out of Secret. I've just got 2 picks. I'm going to go for a third because I'm feeling myself. Go for the clip, absolutely. But you got to remember, you're playing for something bigger. You're playing for the round win. You're playing for the match win. This is to stay out of that bottom side of Project Harmony of the season standings. And so far, Wildcard Queens are not looking like they're going to hold up to the task. Cinta Negra have played outstanding up to this point.
They're looking really good, and if they win this one out, which it's very well looking they might. Time's dwindling here for the attackers. They win this one, they're up on match point, and they've got 3 rounds to secure the regulation win before it goes to OT. And time really ticking down. Sub 15 seconds now. They have to still enter the building. Lindsay playing from below, and that hatch could easily shut down Queen Reki. Is there even a response? Most likely not. Taiko will be in, though, and has a shutdown on Vanix. But can they get the plant down? Apricot somehow getting one. Taiko getting the plant. Lindsay now being downstairs. Going to be a struggle. Can he stop the plant? She's shooting, but I think she's hitting the diffuser, not actually hitting Taiko. So both of these attackers on low HP. So Lindsay can make these engagements quick, but they just gotta find one. There's one more outside of Jacuzzi, knows that because they just, as she was running up, she fought past it. She's gonna start hitting this, see if she can't bait out Applecott, and Applecott does push in, does get Lindsay. A potentially really well played clutch almost there coming out from Lindsay, but just couldn't make it happen, just stuck it a little too long. I probably would have hopped off there after baiting a few of those hits, but you know, in the moment, it's really hard to know exactly what's the right call.
Wow, we gotta pause here for Wildcard Queens, looking to talk themselves through that round. Maybe not the prettiest, maybe not the way they envisioned it going, but they did get the win. And that was the most important part, an explosive way to jump in through the windows at the last possible second for Wildcard Queens. Less panic from them, yes, but arguably probably poor defensive play out of Cinta Negra because they were caught off guard by those plays. There were only really a few spots that Wildcard Queens could even make an attempt at an entry in the last possible seconds of that round, and it really was that gym window. But unfortunately, the Fenrir backed off of that aggressive position down below to deny that window hop in, and it seemed like Cinta Negra were just caught off guard. Wildcard Queens made an excellent entry, and as well, it really, I thought that the Fenrir of Lindsay was going to have the chance to deny through the floor, but I think that she may have been hitting one of the beams that go in between gym and bar. and was positioned just slightly on the wrong side where those red pings were. And really, truthfully tragic there for Cinta Negra, who could have walked away on match point at the conclusion of that round. But Wildcard Queens, credit to them, credit to Tycho especially for getting inside here, getting this kill onto the castle, and then getting the diffuser down to them. Even more credit to April Path for fighting the last two picks and getting that clutch win. Yeah, it just, you can see there's that one beam right there inside a bar protecting Tycho and their life. And if Lindsay was able to land just 2 bullets, he probably would have found that kill, and Cinta Negra would have probably won this round.
That's the crazy thing about Siege, is up until the last 14 seconds, it almost looked assuredly like it was going to be Cinta Negra's win. You know, they had essentially everything they needed. They had coverage from below. They had 2 operators in sight to match the 2 attacking operators. The attacking operators are going to be pushing in. And, you know, the gunfights just didn't go their way. The headshots, one-shot headshots from any gun, just in that time, Wildcard Queens were hitting their shots, and it just makes them win the round. It doesn't matter how much prep or how much good strategy, how much utility you have in sight. At the end of the day, if you just get shot once in the head, that's it. Match goes the side of Wildcard Queens, who now managed to make it into a 1-round game. Of course, Cinta Negra still really close to securing that match point, so Wildcard Queens have to continue this. They can't let up now. They can't get complacent. There's a lot of work to still be done, and we're going to basement, one of the more difficult sites. It's going to be a real bunker, and I think that's exactly what Cinta Negra are going to do. It looks like a lot of them are going to be playing down below, except for Koss, who's kind of roaming up a little bit here on main stairs. Actually, scratch that. We have a bunch of roamers. I wasn't even paying attention. Lindsay's up above. Lily's also up above. They're going to make it difficult for the map clear to work here for Wildcard Queens.
Yeah, Cinta Negra are all over the place. You've got the Legion and the Fenrir working together upstairs in Jim's bedroom. You've got a Meep playing on main stairs as well. There's only 2 members on the bomb site, and if Wildcard Queens spot this with information that has not been their strong suit thus far in this match, then maybe they would just hit the bomb site directly, but it seems like they are going to go for this clear. The issue is they're a little tardy. They're a little bit slow here as they're finally going to drop the logistics, but there's only a minute and a half left on the board. There's 3 members upstairs. It's going to take a lot of effort and really swift gunfight play to win this, and unfortunately RJ not able to capitalize on that pick immediately. Tycho, though, with the opener on Lindsay, really solid job at least to get the pick over on that side of the map, but there's still so many more roamers here from the Cinta Negra side to find. It appears as though they've fallen back, and they're happy and content with the amount of time that they've wasted themselves.
Plenty of time gone, and like I said, that's going to start to bat for the team of Cinta Negra as we get down to it. So Wildcard Queens have to do a lot of util work. They have to open up a lot of stuff. I don't know exactly how much vertical they plan on doing, but they have less than a minute to make it work, and they're going to have to find all of these remaining defenders who are now entrenched in really difficult to remove positions here in basement. Just now we're getting these hatches open. It's not impossible for Wildcard Queens. You know, this timeline isn't the absolute worst thing, but it is going to come down to a pretty last-minute execute. And as we just saw in the previous round, even if you have man advantage, those can kind of go either way.
It's got to be a 50-50. I mean, that's just the only feasible play here that can be made by Wildcard Queens. That would be their best option. They can just ying out everyone in back armory and try to make that play work. Just have to shoot the 1C4 held in the pocket of the Nex to try to get the win. 15 seconds left. Where is Wildcard? Where is the action to come?
10 seconds.
First one to die is Tycho, but the trades back and forth, keeping it 3v3, but 5 seconds, they have to get in sight, they have to hit the plant. There are still 2 defenders remaining. They have man advantage. Evenly with the tying, Lily goes down, but they are just not in sight or close enough to find the remaining defenders or get that plant down. Unfortunate, but it goes the way of Cinta Negra, who are now up on match point. They have the chance to shut this out in regulation. They have 2 rounds to potentially make it happen. Wildcard Queens, it's do or die for them right now.
Now, Wildcard Queens have looked solid on these attacks of CCTV and Jim. It's going to be CCTV defended here by Cinta Negra. Wildcard Queens had an opportunity. They got inside last time here and did get the diffuser down, but they didn't have the post-plant positioning to get the win. And I feel like Cinta Negra has done a really solid job of preparing themselves to play for that late post-plant spot. But like I said, Wildcard Queens, why are they walking down main stairs? Why are there 3 of them walking down main stairs? They got the kitchen hatch open. They had moto hatch open. I think they had blue hatch as well. They had all this control. They had anything that they could have gone. And they probably went to the most contested and still well-defended spot here by Cinta Negra. And it just continues to puzzle me as to why those are the cause? Is it just a lack of information, a lack of confidence in kitchen takes? I'm not sure. It could be a multitude of things. It could just be that that's the play that Wildcard Queens decided on at the beginning of the round, and that's what they're sticking with all the way through to the end. But the lack of adaptability in the last few seconds of the round is what concerns me, and what seems to be the reason for Wildcard Queens losing some of these rounds on Clubhouse. They play really, really solid for the first 2 minutes and 45 seconds, but it's those last-minute executes that cause you to win the round that they seem to struggle and just have too much of a gap to be able to keep up with Cinta Negra here, at least so far through this match.
In Lily Valky, getting some of those new minds out and about on the roam per usual. She had a pretty great first number of rounds, especially in that first half. Been a little bit more quiet since, been struggling to find the exact same success as she was in the first half of the game, but still not being an utter failure either. I mean, Cinta Negra still winning the rounds. The lay game and the util game that Lily is bringing is certainly being incredibly effective, as we've seen Wildcards struggling now time and time again with the time making that happen. And once again, Lily just making her presence known, shooting that drone, even not just getting rid of the drone as part of utility, but the phantom pressure that you apply to being like, hey, I'm right here, I'm going to be something that you have to get rid of, can be really important. And so can getting this wall open. They're going to struggle a little bit, as Bandit is going to make it a bit more difficult. That's the first, I think, successful Bandit check we've seen all game.
Why is the reason why you bring the Capits out here on this site, right, is you open up the garage wall and you get that long angle all the way from the top G1 wall to deny the Bandit from being able to stay on this wall and get the Bandit wire down. And somehow they do get that main wall open, but Demonly takes down Secret yet again. Another early kill and another early aggressive play out of Secret. It may have been in vain to sacrifice themselves to make sure that wall gets open, but even then, is it worth it? The CC wall should be rather simple to get opened up here, and losing a body now makes it infinitely harder to try to push onto the site. You've got to deal with Raptors, you've got to deal with those players deep inside of CC and Cash Room, as well as Top Red, and having one less body to do so is definitely not going to make your life any easier, as Koss gets a pick. Lily Valky as well. It looks like it just might be wraps here for Wildcard Queens on Clubhouse. This being their third time here on this map this season of Project Harmony, and they still can't get the job done. It's not to count Apricot and RJ out of this round just yet, as Apricot gets themselves under the board, but it's certainly a tough task to handle here for Wildcard Queens.
As we trade off, RJ goes down. It's going to be a 1v4 to clutch it out. Under 40 seconds left. Pretty much impossible, but does find at least a down onto Koss. They can finish that off, get themselves another kill, but now 30 seconds to find 3 full health defenders. Toxic Babe still remaining. An impact from Legion from Valky, and I think Valky may still be below. I'm not entirely sure. And that just is also the exact same. Apricot has no idea where any of these players are. Just completely checking every angle. It takes so much time. It's so dangerous at any point. Pretty much a foregone conclusion. Cinta Negra probably going to be able to win this one out nice and easy. Another down onto Lily Valky. Keep Lily Valky from getting that 13th pick, but no time left. GG's, Cinta Negra. They win it out. They win it out in regulation. They look really good doing it. Both on attack, they were surprisingly good, able to get that 3-3 half. On defense, they look really strong, as you probably expect from a really solid Clubhouse defense. But that's Cinta Negra going up in the standings. Good for them.
Yeah, Cinta Negra entering today's play day at P7, or the 7th place team here inside of Project Harmony. Bumping themselves up, they were at 4 points, and with a regulation win over Wildcard Queens, they're up to 7 points as well. So now they're effectively tied with Wildcard Queens, bringing this bottom scoreboard race into a really, really interesting position here. And with only a few weeks left until playoffs, it's certainly going to get even more and more dire for these two teams. And Wildcard Queens, I just think that either they have to revisit themselves on Clubhouse, or maybe they just shouldn't be coming to this map at all. It's not been working out for them so far this season. It's not been their strong suit. You can tell they certainly have a comfortable way to play around it. They just cannot seem to close out the rounds, and that's something I hope that they'll work on should they come back here later in the season, or maybe come playoff time. But with that being said, Cinta Negra girls, excellent performance. Truthfully, they played really, really well throughout this entire match. I was thoroughly impressed with the last place team here in Project Harmony and how strongly they competed against this Wildcard Queens team.
Yeah, for sure. You said it really well there. Very eloquent. You know, they were looking great, and Wildcard Queens have a little bit to do if you can't play Clubhouse correctly. You know, it's a very conventional map that has a lot of basic and foundational stuff of Siege. It's a little bit worrying that, you know, do you have those basics down pat? I'm not entirely sure. You know, they struggled a bit here. Hopefully they can find some more success moving forward. But thinking of moving forward, we got another game right after this. So we'll take just a short break. We'll be back. It will be Thirst Trap and Girls on Fire for our second game of the day. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Well, one match down, 2 more to go for the rest of the day here at Project Harmony, week number 5. My name's Clemps again, joined alongside me is a wonderful Meep Garage. Y'all just watched the first match between Wildcard Queens and Cinta Negra Girls take place, and now we've got match number 2 underway. It's Thirst Trap taking on Girls on Fire.
And looking at both of these teams, as we were saying earlier before the start of the last match too, and we were kind of talking about the schedule, these are pretty highly ranked teams. They're really solid performing teams, so we're expecting the winner of this team to be put up in that, like, the top tier of the standings. Looking at the standings right now, you can see this is the number 3 ranked team and the number 5 ranked team. Both of them are 3-1, 2 overtime match wins for Thirst Trap, which is why they're a bit lower ranked. They just don't get as many points from those, but still 2 very competitive teams, 2 successful teams. I'm very excited for what we're going to see here.
Yeah, I also got to note that both of these 2 teams beat previously high-ranked teams last week. So Thirst Trap beat Slinkys 8-6 in an overtime affair last week. They're the number 1 place team in the league. And Girls on Fire beat Admin Abuse, the number 2 seed in the league, 7-4 last week. So both of these teams absolutely capable of performing out of their minds. And you can see they've both got very talented rosters. On the side of Thirst Trap, Sanjaya, Jesco, Panda, Seriously, I think it's Jane, and then Kitty. Really, really solid side, and I've always been impressed by what they've done. Panda being one of those really, really solid standout players in the league. And on the other side, you've got Aechi, Yuliang, Sani, Soso, Swaggy, Elula, and an open slot. So if someone's looking to join Girls on Fire, there's an open slot for you.
Can I join?
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe I could try out, right?
But yeah, wow. Very talented rosters. We can take a quick look at one of the people you just shouted out. You shouted out Panda. Panda right now, most kills of anyone in the tournament so far at 45. And you look at that kill per round, 0.96, really high cost to really impressive stuff coming out from Panda. So no pressure, but we're going to be expecting some big stuff here.
Yeah, Panda has always been an effective player here for the Thirst Trap side. And on the other side, you've got Girls on Fire. Yu Liang with a really, really solid, just, again, performance in KD as well. 40 kills, so not too far off of Panda, the current kill leader in the league. Also managing just about 1 kill per round, which is really incredible because that means in almost every single round, all but maybe 3 out of 100 per se, Yu Liang is getting a kill. And that is a really incredible stat and a really solid job to show how strong of a player that Yu Liang is. And last week, Soso had a 90% cost in their victory over Admin Abuse. Definitely a key factor and a key member here to this Girls on Fire team. And I'm excited because this is a firework-worthy game. Both of these teams, both players on both teams, are all really solid, and it's going to be a fun matchup between these 2 teams. As we go into the map veto, Bank will be where we are. Finally, an exciting map, something interesting, something different, per se. I guess I have to shout out Thirst Trap for always taking, at least whenever I'm around, to a fun map. I think Border was the last time I casted them just a couple weeks back, and that was a really solid map to watch. So, Bank also going to be interesting, and I think that if Thirst Trap are confident in going here, then it may turn out that they're able to topple over the Girls on Fire roster, but Girls on Fire were the ones that banned out Nighthaven Labs and sent us to Bank, so clearly maybe a little bit more comfortable there. That's the advantage of having that second ban and getting to choose between the last 2 maps. So overall, both teams, an exciting matchup, truthfully, and on Bank to do it all.
Yeah, neither of them have played Bank yet in this tournament, so this is going to be new territory for both of them. Obviously, they have played Bank outside of this tournament. You know, it's an old map. I would have expected that much. But in this tournament, it's the first time really we're going to see it. So I'm very excited to see what we're going to bring. And Bank is a map, at least compared to something like Clubhouse that we just watched, Bank is very volatile. It's got these incredibly long window angles, and so it gives attackers a bit more room to hide outside, play on these window angles, apply a lot of pressure like that. Unlike, you know, but then it's also an enormous map itself. It's really easy for defenders to lurk around and hide. I mean, main lobby itself is just so big, and you can hide in lone office, you can hide behind any of the pillars or chairs. It's just a map that it can really go either way, and it can be really, like, explosive when it has to be, but it can also be a very strategic map at times, too.
Yeah, I think that Bank just in general is a map that you can find a lot of success on. It just depends on your play style, and it also depends on how your opponents play on this map, because there's a lot of strategy that is typically involved on this map, right? I mean, there is so many different plays, whether it's a lobby-based take, it's a square-based take, it's a rush, it's a complete flood. Zofia banned off the board. What the hell does that have intentions on? I believe that's totally targeted at Panda, who is, if I remember correctly, been an absolute menace on Zofia this season. But what a ban wave. Brava off the board, Zofia off the board. That's going to completely change the way that maybe Thirst Trap play Bank. Maybe it also changes the way that Girls on Fire play Bank. This is weird, one could say. It's maybe not as weird as our last match, Meep Garage, but this one, I don't know. This ban phase has completely thrown me for a loop.
Yeah, I mean, the target ban coming out in Zofia, I mean, Zofia has not really been particularly popular ever since the LMG meta and, you know, all the LMGs got nerfed. We haven't really seen Zof rise back up to where she used to be. We see some people still play her. Like you were saying, Panda maybe likes playing on Zofia. Really solid guns, still incredible amount of utility with both impacts as well as those stuns that she can launch out of her lifeline gadget. But you don't see him that much, so that ban is very targeted. The rest of them, I mean, I'm not super surprised at the Zombie getting banned. That one's pretty typical. Mira is played a bunch on this map, so, you know, I don't always see Mira banned here, but I can understand maybe why you'd want. She can make it really difficult to attack pretty much every site on the map. The Bravo one is interesting too. I wonder if Thirst Trap maybe have seen some strats that Girls on Fire like to bring that revolve around some very specific hard to remove gadgets, and they're like, we don't want, or maybe it's the other way around. They like to play with some gadgets like that. Like we see, we already have a Maestro being brought. You don't want that Maestro, those evil eyes, to be taken over. So I think that might be the intention there, is they like some of that hard bullet, really, they don't want to lose it.
Attackers are moving out.
Now, Maestro is extremely strong and potent in Rainbow Six Siege, so it's not a shock to see him being tried. Get it? He shocks his opponents with his... Oh!
That's why they pay you the big bucks.
I get paid not the big bucks. If anything, I'm getting paid the medium or the no bucks.
We can all sympathize with that, can't we?
Mega facts. Mega facts. But that being said, no Bravo on the board does mean that those Maestro bubbles will stay up for the entirety of the round, barring Girls on Fire bringing any sort of attacker utility that can deal with them, such as Ash Lance chart, or Preaching Charges rather, maybe a Dawn 6, or Sonny simply to walk in through bottom square and take down the kill leader of the league, Panda, early on, not allowing Panda to extend their lead at all so far in this match.
Another thing worth mentioning is with my off so early, that's once again another operator whose utility gets more and more useful with time, generating those magnets in his pocket. Going to be out of the match now, so those aren't going to be used. That's a lot of magnets just going to be dead in the pocket there. Great opening pick from Girls on Fire, who seem to also have not been answered back because of that. They no trade coming back out immediately from Thirst Trap, so it's just an unanswered opening pick going their way. Now they have the advantage in the round, and they continue to work things. You can see they're doing a pretty solid job so far of getting into the building in certain areas and understanding where these defenders are lurking, but that doesn't mean it's going to be easy for them to be able to remove those defenders. You know where they are, but it's a whole separate story when it comes to actually getting them out of there. They know castles lurking up above, and unfortunately, things are going to get a little more difficult difficult as Yuliang is going to go down. Jesco gets the opening pick here for first trap, at least the answer back, finally even things up at a 4v4. Engagements on this top floor are just kind of being real crazy right now. And lots of people are just walking into guns, going back and forth, 3v3 all of a sudden as we get into the last minute. At least Thirst Trap, or at least Girls on Fire, are adjacent to site and ready to push in whenever they need to, but these members from Thirst Trap are just making it difficult right now.
Yeah, it's just trades back and forth for both teams, and somehow we're even with time dwindling here for the side of Girls on Fire to make their entry. Got a couple of these square walls opened up, but not enough to fully get through. If you do go towards this window, then you can hop in. The issue is you got to deal with a Maestro bubble sitting right under your feet. And it's going to be difficult to get inside and get this diffuser down. Sani, though, on for 3 kills in this round. She could ace walking up the marble stairs. Seems like the Ash is aware of the positioning of the Maestro, and certainly with the bullets proccing now, that full sound cue, Sani knows that they can take out this player, but Sanjaya gets that kill on a So-So. It's going to have to be a complete madhouse at the end of this round. Sanjaya goes for the swing. Sani has the cover. They know where the last member is. They'll take the swing. It's an ace from Sani to kick off the first round. What a round by the Ash. I mean, the entry in through open area, going up the marble stairs, and just doing it all on her own self. And Thirst Trap not able to contest the Ash at all. No refrags, no trades in sight.
One of the things I was just mentioning as we were talking out in that middle of the round is how these defenders are in really tough positions, that it's going to be hard to remove them. And that's what we were seeing. Sani was struggling to find an easy pick onto that Maestro. She knew Maestro was in elevator, and she knew that he had that cam there, was able to see everything. And instead of dealing with the Maestro, she just sprints into sight, goes and supports her teammate, and then forces Maestro to come out of his closet there, because he's essentially just in a 1v2 now with Plant going down. It was an excellent play, a bit of a risky play, but it paid off really well, and ultimately Sani putting her team on her back, carrying them to the finish line, at least just for this round. Hopefully we'll see a bit more kills across the board for Girls on Fire, because you can't count on one person to do it every single time. But excellent individual plays to just kind of force the envelope there, make things difficult for the defense, make things uncomfortable, even as the defenders held on to those really valuable and strong positions.
I mean, if Sani just does that 3 more times, she's on pace to break the kill record for the season.
There you go.
If only it was that easy. If only it was that easy.
It is.
Sani
It is that easy.
did a really, really solid job that round. I mean, huge props. She did it all. Even going and rotating downstairs to take out Jess, who had rotated and gone for that flank inside a kitchen and open area. Spot, but Girls on Fire, really solid job of isolating that Solace and enabling their entry player Sani to do the job needed. And if they're able to continue to leverage that pressure as these rounds go on, you can expect Girls on Fire to have a really, really solid bang attacking half. Already early entry here by AFG. They've made their way into the open area, or from top square rather, and now we're getting footprints already on these runs. And I believe a Legion. Working a duo upstairs with Sani. Their reign of terror to be stopped as Jeff finds that headshot in the opening kill.
You can see how much right now Thirst Trap are committing to this upper floor hold. They're not going to let upper floor be taken easily, and it's going to get bad for worse from Girls on Fire. As Panda finds IFG, that's going to take down one of those key operators when it comes to clearing out the room. As Jackal's now off the board, it's going to mainly make it be up to Swaggy, who's on Grim, who's not necessarily a great roam clear. Grim's better when you're more confined to very particular spaces, just like a single bomb site, but still can be very effective when it comes to cutting off rotates for roamers and whatnot. But it's very difficult now. Those roamers can remain upstairs. They can remain a complete nuisance. And it looks like Girls on Fire are realizing they can't handle the roam right now. They're just going to have to hit site, and hopefully Thirst Trap are a little bit unprepared and maybe don't have as many bodies down there they can test if they just push in and try and brute force it.
I think they just walk in here. I think that's truthfully just the best effort to make, right? None of the hatchets are open, so those can't be leveraged against you. The Kaid is all the way back inside of gold, so there's not much pressure they can do as well. So I think that this is an easy spot that potentially Girls on Fire could leverage for a win. Getting backside of the building, but has to worry about that C4 from Jane. And their backside is just a little too exposed, at least currently, for that first attempt of the plant. 50 seconds remaining on the clock as Yuliang does begin to go for that plant attempt. Swaggy with great coverage, but look at this play attempted by Panda and Jess from above. Panda goes down. It's not Jess, it's Kitty trying to work this plane from top square. Somehow the diffuser has gone down, and all the madness. There's still 2 players going for the flank. This has to pay off massively for Thirst Trap if they want to get the round win. Kitty finds one just with the second, but the Legion not able to whip out the pistol in time. The Grimace caught sprinting just with 3 kills. A great retaking effort by Thirst Trap as they get their first round here on Bank.
Yeah, the man advantage there really hurting Girls on Fire as they were able to get the plant down. They were able to bait out some C4s, make sure it was safe for that plant to hit the ground. They were able to have solid enough coverage, but Thirst Trap, just as Girls on Fire realized they can just rush in and overwhelm site and take that part of site and at least get the plant, Thirst Trap realized the exact same thing. There aren't as many of them. We can just overwhelm them, just pinch them, force them into stairs. There's only one place they can be. Peek your angles, pre-fire, and it went really well. It was really well played by Thirst Trap. Just understand that very basic principle. Push them, overwhelm them, there's nothing they can do, and it worked out for them. It was almost very well played by Soso here, who just managed to get 1 kill, and then struggles when it comes to just the pinch coming out from both sides. As you can see, I believe that's Kitty there, pushing in, gets the pick. It's just a bit too much coming in, can't stop it. A little bit tragic there for Soso, who's unable to make it work, but that's just how it is. You're down in man count, it's tough to fight back.
And Swaggy had a chance there, but unfortunately getting cut splinted, you're just not going to ever win that engagement, especially with the way that the game has changed in this last season with the ADS timing changes. It takes so much longer. It feels like it takes a whole year to just aim down sights with your weapons. So unfortunately, with that being the case, Swaggy not be able to get the gun trained up in time. But back to CEO and Executive goes Thirst Trap, trying to up their last attempt there, where Sonny was able to ace. And I think that Thirst Trap right now, at least so far through these 2 rounds, their win condition is take out Sonny equals round win. Sonny stays up equals round loss. So will that continue to be the case? Probably not. But as far as the first 2 rounds go, I am and I should be a pro analyst because of that.
Yeah, let's get
Kill person, win round.
We don't need Jesse J Chick anymore.
No. If there's anyone I'm replacing, first of all, it's Jacob, okay? 'Cause I hate that guy. I hate that guy. I'm kidding, I love Jacob. But if there's anyone I'm replacing Justin, the analyst for Wildcard. That guy also sucks. I love all these people. I mean good things.
Mine's that opening pick. I believe Jane got downed by the fuse charges, and then I actually was able to pick up the pick once Jane was down. You don't see fuse coming out too often, and it's already working. It's actually making some noise here, quite literally and figuratively, opening things up. And also, you can look at what these fuse charges do. A lot of the reason why teams bring them out isn't necessarily for their lethal capabilities, but because of how much destruction you can do to the floors. Now it's a lot easier for someone from Girls on Fire to go below and then start looking up through those holes. Look at those really commonly held little anchor spots that defense likes to hold. Jesco gonna find Sonny, and there we go. Let's see if your principle still holds. Sonny is out. That means Thirst Trap should win this. Thirst Trap should win this. It's gonna be a close.
Maybe not.
Thirst Trap.
There's no one's on site. And Panda's last member, and I think that they've just given themselves away at the bottom of square. It's a complete flood on through for Thirst Trap. I don't know how they've gotten away with this. How did everyone die on the side of Thirst Trap? I don't know. But Girls on Fire have walked in, they've got the diffuser down, and all they have to do is wait out time or wait for Panda to try to make a retaking effort. I just don't think there's much that the Wobbai can even do in this position. There's almost no time left on the board. There's Yuliang to find that kill out of the stock hallway, swinging in towards top square. And wow, I mean, just a weird round yet again. It seems like Thirst Trap are trying to be extremely aggressive, and sometimes it works out excellently for them. And on other cases, it seems like Girls on Fire just wait for them to swing. They play it as well as they need and win the round with ease.
Well, Well, the Sawney principle was short-lived. Sawney died. The round did not go the way of Thirst Trap. Girls on Fire still picking up. Really, really good pickup. And this is part of what we were also talking about when we were talking about just Bank in general. Jesco does get the pick there, evens things out. But Bank is so big, you're so far away that all of a sudden, I think Girls on Fire realized, hey, there's a player here. There's other players off roaming about. We can just hit site right now. There's no way they can get up there in time. And that's exactly what happens. They were able to just get in there and shut things down.
It seems like a staff executive is not the bomb site to go to.
I'm sorry, CEO and executive is not the bomb site to go here for Thirst Trap, and now they'll test themselves here in staff and open area. I gotta agree. The map is too big for what Thirst Trap are trying to do on that site for CEO and executive. I think you're going to be a little bit more successful attempting to clear on staff, certainly on the basement as you saw. But the issue is, if Girls on Fire start to recognize this pattern of play, which seems to be occurring and very common here from Thirst Trap, where they're just constantly on site, constantly running at you and trying to apply pressure. And if Girls on Fire just focus their aim at site and take a 5v3 or a 5v2 on the bomb site every single round, effectively, they've got the advantage. And they'll have to force Thirst Trap to play maybe the game they don't want to, which is a little bit more of a bunker-style play, which then might allow Girls on Fire to be more malleable in their own attacks.
They're liking the Fuse pick as they're bringing Fuse again. This time they could go above in like stock or around that area. You put the Fuse charges down and you just really pressuring the defenders who are camping out in sight. We're not going to probably be seeing the same sort of utilitarian focus of Fuse of opening up the floors as much here, but still you do see it. Engagement's going back away. Back and forth. Sawney finds the opening pick. This time answering back onto Jesco, who I think has shut down Sawney a couple of times, at least once already in the previous round. So that's a little bit of revenge there. Jesco taken out really nice and early, and there doesn't seem to be an answer back as Sawney is just aggressing towards Marble, going to use those air jabs that Nomad can bring, going to put them down, but unfortunately Wamai's magnets there going to just instantly trigger and steal that air jab from Sawney. That's unfortunate, a little bit of utility taken out. Watching the flanks is going to be more difficult now as they're only going to be able to cut off 2 of these rotates. Square staircase is always going to be open now as that one air jab got taken away.
I feel like Square is going to be that main push point here of emphasis for Girls on Fire, though. They've got the ace, so in theory, their goal may be to open up this quad wall as Yulian gets the kill onto the Maestro of Kitty, who is really not started off too hot in this match. I feel like Kitty, Jane, and Panda are all players that have performed very well in recent matches here for the side of Thirst Trap, but unfortunately just cannot get anything going for themselves. As I actually able to find one, and they have even got information in the smoke on Marble Stairs. Sawney finds their second for the round. Jane will at least finally get herself on the board, so maybe can instill a little bit more confidence and try to pull herself back into this round. The shotgun out will find a kill onto Swaggy, but still, he's going to find 3 more members. Diffuser going down, So-So to get another plant guaranteed for the side of Girls on Fire. And unfortunately, Thirst Trap just really struggling so far on the defense. The Girls on Fire attack has just been excellent and very clinical in how they're handling each of the members of Thirst Trap.
What are you supposed to do when Sawney pops off? I'm pretty sure that was a 3K from Sawney, who's now up to, I believe,
What can you do when Sawney is floating? What can you do? Sawney is floating.
Nothing. Apparently nothing. Well, at least not that we know of. Thirst Trap are going to try and figure it out. They're going to call a timeout to see if they can't figure out how to shut down Girls on Fire and Sawney as well. Just because things aren't working out well. Girls on Fire seem to have every single move that Thirst Trap are going to make. They have them all just memorized. Like, they know where the rotates are going to be. They know where they're going to be holding. It's just been way too easy for them to find every single roamer and shut them down, shut off those rotates, take with a map control they need, and then just push into sight and take what they want.
I mean, truthfully, I feel like the conversation that has to come here for Thirst Trap is, why are we not playing behind utility? Why are we trying to take gunfights? Clearly, or at least they need to identify that clearly their problem right now is trying to take these heads-up, immediate, direct gunfights with the Girls on Fire side. And they've not been able to win them at all. I mean, it seems like in every single engagement that Girls on Fire are just ending on top constantly, and Thirst Trap are not there in good enough close positions to get refrags, and they're not playing their utility in the way to force Girls on Fire to maybe be a little bit more strategical in their roam clear, but rather just aggressive with their guns. And so if Thirst Trap recognize this and they decide to play for utility, force Girls on Fire to go for an execute, something that I don't think that Girls on Fire have shown, at least yet, that they have the capability to do so in this match against Thirst Trap, then maybe Thirst Trap can find themselves at least a win or two and salvage their defensive stint here on Bang, because 3-3 is certainly ideal. A 2-4 is workable because Bang does typically favor the attack side, but even then, one could argue that Thirst Trap certainly may struggle going into the defense with the way that these first rounds have panned out if Girls on Fire are going to be as aggressive.
Yeah, and you certainly also have to think about what it might do for the mental of Thirst Trap, is if they just keep getting pummeled, if they just can't find anything on defense, it can be hard to talk yourself up and to keep confident and win out those rounds. You know, mental does play such a huge part in the game. You have to be willing to believe that you can win every single round. So hopefully they have the skill and the experience to not be affected too much by the slightly underperforming first number of rounds that they've had. But right now, we're focusing here on base, but they're all stacking up. They're getting ready for that plant right away. We have Young putting one of those Osa shields here down in server room.
Boy.
Have the thermite ready to open things up. I think they're going to be pushing right in. They're obviously going to have to, I think, bait out a few C4s, so they're not going to put the plant down immediately. They want to do some things to cut off rotates, try and get rid of that utility that they know is going to come in response to their attempted plant. But I do like how they're stacking up. I do like the utilitarian focus that they're bringing right now. I do like them using Sony. Once again, get those air jabs down, cut off the rotates. This might be trouble for Thirst Trap unless they can make something happen. And once again, Sony is just too good. Finds one onto Jesco again. Swaggy in time finds another one. That's Panda taken off the board too. Finally an answer back from Kitty. Does shut down Sony, but the damage might be done. I'm not entirely sure if they have what it takes, but Kitty on this flank finds another one, potentially completely stalling off this attack. Look, they have a decent amount of utility left, Girls on Fire, but they did lose their flank watch. So now, I don't know how many air jabs they got down, hopefully more than just one, but that is going to hurt them a little bit, is they're going to have to be especially careful of watching not just the flank, but, you know, they still have to bait out these C4s. They haven't quite done that yet. Jane stepping up, going to lob it. Just the terror is enough to scare that diffuser off. Oh no, it's going to be tough here.
Move from So-So, backing their way in, trying to get this diffuser down. C4 not coming through. It's a Gumai. Funnily enough, distracting me. But still, it's a great opportunity here for Girls on Fire. So-So looking to find their way in. Diffuser begins to get planted yet again. There's the C4. It misses. It's way too short from Jane. Diffuser to go down. And Girls on Fire now in the advantage. All they have to do is post plant. They just got to watch their flank. That's what they struggled with last time. They have these talent shields placed brilliantly inside of server to help them out there. Kitty will try to work this flank, but there's just not much she can do. There's got to be a drone and information, something around. Excellently played by Girls on Fire. Wow, you can't get much better than that. That was amazing.
Really well played. Love how they set up. They executed really well. Even they were able to recover too once, you know, Kitty was on that flank, really threw them off balance for a little bit, slowed things down, but they had an excellent recovery. Really shows their adaptability and just how good they are rolling with the punches.
Gotta commend at least Girls on Fire in that attacking round. I mean, they brilliantly outread Thirst Trap, right? They decided to go for that square play. They were like, yeah, Thirst Trap has had this issue of being all over the map, all across the place, right? So let's just go direct to site. And that's a brilliant way. They took the attack time out and completely flipped to 180 against Thirst Trap, who tried to make some sort of counter strategy, some sort of counter play. And now this round that we are coming to is ultimately extremely important for Thirst Trap. They've got to win this one if they want a chance flipping over to their attacking side, because coming back down 1-5 after your defensive Cinta's bank, it's certainly doable, but very, very difficult.
Yeah, it's a big round for them, like you were saying. And it's also, once again, it's big because I want to highlight that it's an enormous round for your mental. Facing down a 1-5 on, like, even though they will maybe have the favored side, as you're saying, that a bank sometimes goes a bit more attacker-sided. Even though you have the favored side, a 1-5 scoreline can be very intimidating, and it's just a very daunting task of I have to win this many rounds in a row before it even starts to get into kind of a comfortably close game again. It can be a lot, and lesser players won't be able to do that. But I believe in Thirst Trap, there's a reason they're ranked where they are, and a lot of these players have a lot of experience. We highlighted them for reasons. They can keep strong. They know how to keep that mental fortitude up, and they can certainly make it work.
Yuliang and Girls on Fire would love to wrap this round up with a 5-1 attacking split here on Bang. Sonny just continuing to make her opponent's lives hell, trying to get another opening pick, but not looking too hot here for Girls on Fire. Yuliang hopping in, ends up losing her life. Panda, though, has been DBNO'd, so it is still possible for Thirst Trap to at least get Panda back up and res at top marble, but it is kind of a tricky position. He's still committed upstairs as well, and his wall bang. I mean, the information is just incredible from Girls on Fire. They are just walking all over this Thirst Trap roster. There's nothing they can seemingly do. Every single member just continues to get isolated, and with a minute and a half left in the round, Thirst Trap are just here pondering, what can we do to fight back in this last defensive round?
One silver lining right now for Thirst Trap is they still do have Smoke on the board. In a clutch situation, Smoke is about as good of an operator as you can hope for. Can delay a lot of time, can do damage, has some really great weapons, but it doesn't make this easy. It's still a 2v4, and there's a lot of utility that Girls on Fire have yet to deploy. With quite a bit of time left too, they can start getting these fuse charges down and just make everything on site noisy and a living hell for Thirst Trap. They have a bunch of Wanna Hives that Swaggy can deploy. Just give them a huge amount. So the drop's just going to come out. They may not even use the intel. The pistol brought out by ASG to finish off Jane. Jai will find one, but it's a 1v3. They know exactly where she is. It's So-So with the final kill, and another really incredible looking round coming out from Girls on Fire.
I mean, are Girls on Fire just knowers of everything? It seems like they know everywhere that Thirst Trap are. And Thirst Trap have no idea where Girls on Fire are. I don't know if the information is just that much of a mismatch, if there's something that I'm missing, something that Thirst Trap is certainly missing, is the denial of the information game from Girls on Fire, because they are just walking in everywhere, and there's just no one responding at all. It just appears as though Girls on Fire maybe are over-swinging, maybe they're not aware of where their opponents are. I mean, Jess has died 3 rounds straight super early on, and that's due to Sonny, who has just done an excellent job here on the entry and has been enabled so well here by the Thirst Trap roster, or by the Girls on Fire roster, rather. I just, this is criminal. You don't need to do this,
That's a little scary.
Like, you just don't need to do that. Like, Ayachi is already dead. We already saw it once. We don't have to see it again, man. Oh, Ayachi. Listen, it happens. When you drop down the hatches, sometimes it goes out of bounds. It's a little funky, okay? But, my point being, a lot of early deaths from Thirst Trap, a lot of rough play from them, and a lot of isolated deaths. No refrags, no trades, at least on the defensive stand. And now they've got to try to flip the role that Girls on Fire have been on and see if they can't at least be better responsive on the attack. And certainly, if you're Thirst Trap, you have got to start this round off hot, because you don't want to be coming back down 1-6, staring down match point for your opponents.
Site's basement, you can see most of Thirst Trap heading up to the roof right away. And if you look at their roster, players like Zinjaya on Nomad and then Panda on Jackal, it's pretty clear that they are going to go for a comprehensive roam clear here, and they're going to try and find the members of Girls on Fire that are out working, who I believe Shawnee I saw running around a little bit. I'm not entirely sure who Yuliang is, but Maluzi is another great set and forget operator. You put down those Banshees, and she can just kind of go wherever she wants after that. She does not need to be in sight. She does not need to be near her gadgets to make them effective. So it kind of depends on how much resistance is Girl on Fire going to put up on this roam before falling back to sight, and is Thirst Trap going to be able to quickly realize that they don't have have to spend all this time doing the roam clear or not? You know, time can certainly be a major factor, but we will see as we get into the middle of the round here and the roam clear is really going to start happening.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's too much of a roam game here from Girls on Fire. You've got Sonny inside of Archive, supported by a couple of those clones that could potentially help out. Maybe some of those proxy alarms are also placed out. But it seems as though Sonny is kind of just playing to lose their life, right? Waste as much time as possible. You've also got Aechi, who I've missed here, inside a main lobby working with the Alibi. So you've got 2 members of Girls on Fire dedicated into this roam. They've definitely got to have some serious impact in this round. So far, they are. Thirst Trap rather slow in this round. Only a minute 15 left on the board. And I don't think they've really gotten to too much work done on the hatches. I mean, Jess still has all 5 of the torches. Jada's barely burnt through any of those Xcaros pellets. Where is the attack from Thirst Trap? They just seem timid and scared to make their move.
They brought the operators to perform flank watch and roam clear, but I don't know if they brought the plan. Aechi has rotated all the way up to top floor, shuts down Panda. That's the Jackal. The Jackal was using the Inox there, so she did get a track off, but now Jackal's out of this game. You have still one more roamer lurking in Archives, I believe. That's Sonny up there. So Sonny's rotated out to the bottom, or the first floor square. Could potentially play spoiler here on this hatch. Finds one. Jesco does find another to at least give her team a single pick, but things are just falling apart for Thirst Trap.
Jaya working this flank. There's just no time left. I mean, there's still 3 toxic waves, a C4. There's just no world that Thirst Trap will walk away with this round. It'd have to be a huge one out of the side of Thirst Trap. Girls on Fire. A C4 does do a little bit of damage. Dumps back to the toxic wave is certainly to polish off the rest of the round. Jane trying to walk on through, gets stuck in the breach. There's no time left. Swaggy with the swing gets the ending kill. And Girls on Fire on match point. 6-1 currently here on Bank. They just look like absolute studs. I really can't tell, honestly. Truthfully, Meep, and maybe you have a better tell on this. I don't know if Girls on Fire are just that amazingly good, or maybe Thirst Trap are just having a really, really off-kilter day for themselves, because they've looked way better on other maps and in other matches against other teams, but for some reason they just cannot get anything going. Their plans aren't working accordingly, and maybe it's just due to the distinct play styles of each team. Maybe Girls on Fire, just the way they play, significantly counters the chaos and chaotic attempts by Thirst Trap. I really can't diagnose him, because Thirst Trap is just so incredibly slow, so lacking of information against Girls on Fire, who really didn't feel like they were doing anything special, anything distinct in that round that would, like, alert to something that would confuse Thirst Trap for the goal that they were attempting to go for.
You know, I know it's the basic answer, but it's definitely right now a bit of both. You have Girls on Fire who are looking great, they're looking coordinated, and individually they have a lot of players playing incredibly well. And for Thirst Trap, they're definitely underperforming. As you said yourself, they have shown how good they can be previously. We know they can be so much better than this. I don't know the exact problem, but one guess is maybe they just don't have advanced strats. Maybe this isn't a map that they're super comfortable on. They've played it, but it's not one they like. And they're bringing operators. They have ideas of what to do, but when it comes to actually putting everything together, their formations and their executes just aren't really working out right now, and they're not able to make that utility come to life like how they want it.
Panda has certainly been a standout player for Thirst Trap, but having an off week maybe is one of the reasons why we see the score so lopsided as it appears. Switch on the DMR on the main lobby windows, just fishing for kills, but so far no one of Girls on Fire wanting to be the fish that bites the worm.
Laying out on these windows, we talked about this earlier, this is one of the things that can make Bank pretty strong for attackers. There's just a lot of safe areas that you can hold long angles with, and with those magnified optics, with the assault rifles and DMRs that have a much better damage fall-off, you have a bit of an advantage as an attacker, because you don't have to necessarily hit the headshot. You can do body shots and still do really significant damage, but if Girls on Fire are wise, they won't get caught out. I must cast a curse at Aechi, who does get caught out from one of those window positions. It's Panda finding that pick, and that's exactly what you need to do. You need to use what makes Bank Bank. Use those long window angles. Use how it's safe for attack. Just hold those ones and cut off rotates, and you can find an opening pick. Now, it actually is a Malusi, so once again, set, forget. Not a huge amount of utility taken off for Girls on Fire, but still, man advantage favoring Thirst Trap. That's the first time they've really had a good-looking advantage in a while.
Thirst Trap, while Panda has been sitting in the main lobby windows, elsewhere action has been made inside of top square. They're slowly getting themselves inserted, but Jess has put herself downstairs, but they don't really know about Sonny. And no, they do though. They have all the information, apparently. Either that or just a sixth sense that someone was sitting at the top of secret stairs. No kill to come out. Sonny wasn't fully exposed to that angle, fortunately enough, for Girls on Fire, but still, just the presence of Sonny being downstairs, wasting this time for Thirst Trap, making it really concerning as this round continues to boil down. Only 40 seconds left, and Thirst Trap just don't seem to be comfortable enough to be ready to make this entry move. And certainly with So here contesting these long angles, I'm a little bit nervous if I'm a Thirst Trap fan.
Yeah, advantage for Thirst Trap. Time's to start playing for Girls on Fire. I like to use that adage because it's true. These gunfights not really finding the kills they need. They need to start shutting these people down, but it's it's Sonny. All of a sudden, Girls on Fire taking the map back. It's evened out by Sanjaya, but things are still back and forth. It's all going to be down. Kitty in a 1v3, 11 seconds left. All you have to do is not peek. Sosa does make the mistake of peeking, but I think the rest of the defenders are just going to play smart, play it safe, and Swaggy does ultimately finalize things. It's a walk in the park, an easy 7-1. Girls on Fire absolutely decimate here on Bank, just looking completely invaluable, and there is nothing, absolutely nothing that Thirst Trap had to say in response to any of it.
Yeah, I've never seen that elite animation before. I saw an ACOG scope in the middle of the screen and I was so confused. I didn't even know that existed, to be honest. But I've got to agree. I mean, Thirst Trap just had an off week. That's not the typical team that we've seen throughout this stage of Project Harmony. Maybe it's just a mid-season kerfuffle. I don't know what the case is, but Girls on Fire on the other end, even if Thirst Trap had an off week, looked incredible. Their information was amazing. The droning was great. The strategy that they had was excellent. They just seemed like they were comfortable, and maybe other teams now looking at this match on Bank will realize that Girls on Fire are not a team that they want to face up on the map of Bank. But that being said, big Garage. We only got one more game left today to end it off. It'll be Silly Slinkys and Meep, if I'm right. I think you are. I think that's right. In that being the case, so Silly Slinkys currently sitting atop of the board in first place, but Girls on Fire might be one of those teams that all of a sudden sneak out of nowhere and try to snag that first place spot. I'll be looking forward to how they continue out through the rest of the season in Project Harmony. That being said, that'll do it for Meep Garage and I think that Girls on Fire have a lot of really promising stats to take away from this match, and I'll be excited to see them continue on through.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it was an exciting one. I love to see where they'll go after this. And if you want to watch more Siege, we got another match. As you just said, we got Meeps and Silly Slinkys coming up. It should be another good one. We won't be casting it. That's us for today. So don't go anywhere because we got another one right after this.
Welcome back, everyone, for Game 3. It's my favorite time of the week, as always. As Mason actually said earlier, it's women time. I'm Crow, and I'm joined for the first time by Nomical, who you do, I forgot, so I know you do XGS. Did you do anything before that?
Yeah, my first event I ever did was XGS, but I've also bounced around some T4 leagues like 3Z and X Series.
Okay.
So, I'm still relatively new to the scene, but I'm really happy to be here joining you with Project Harmony, and we've got a really great matchup to start things out.
Oh, yeah, we do. After Girls on Fire actually catapulted themselves into first place with the win over Thirst Trap, now we've got Meep versus Silly Slinkys, two more teams who were in the top four, or rather still are in the top four. Silly Slinkys now dropping to second, Meep in fourth place. A win from Meep. Unfortunately, all they can do is get back in third, but I'm sure Silly Slinkys are itching to get that first place spot back.
Yeah, all Silly Slinkys need to do is push this to overtime, and they can get themselves right back into first place and keep themselves looking good as we round out the final couple weeks of Project Harmony Season 2. So they'll want to make sure they can get as many points as possible to secure themselves the best seeding as possible. We've got our head-to-head matchup for the teams. For the side of Meep, we've got Minnie, Lauren, Turlia, Melly, Goddess, Marmalade, and MV Rai. Silly Slinkies, excuse me. And then over on the side of Meep, we've got Eli, Adrenala, Maddie, Lana, Carrie Lon, Alex, and Haley. Now, I don't really know a ton about these players overall, but I'm sure you know a little bit more. So what can you tell us about these first 4 weeks?
So on the right side, you see mine, Lauren, Turler, Melly, and Goddess, Marmalade as well. They won the first edition of Project Harmony. They won last season. So Silly Slinkies are absolutely the favorites to win this season too, mainly because a lot of these girls, Goddess played Pro League. Marmalade played Pro League. Turler has played in T3 for a while. So is Lauren. Lauren is always looking to get on T3. And then, mine is a pretty well-known ranked demon on Twitter. So they have been the favorites this whole time to win. On the other side, Ellie, it's actually not Eli. I found that out last season. It's Ellie, also competed in the last edition, whereas I'm pretty sure all of her teammates are new to Harmony, but they have been doing incredibly well for themselves, taking down a lot of teams who were relatively strong last season, like Wildcard Queens.
Yeah, and as far as the side of Silly Slinkies, obviously they started out really well. They started out 3-0. Unfortunately, last week they suffered their first loss, 8-6 to Thirst Trap, and it was on Clubhouse, a map that they have actually played a couple times now. They have actually played a wide variety of maps, but we're going to take a quick look at Marmalade and just kind of how well she's done. Only played in one game, but she's had a huge impact throughout, or at least in that one game that she played. So definitely going to look to see a big performance from her to have Silly Slinkies continue their dominant performance really throughout this stage. Next player we're going to take a look at is going to be Maddie. Now, she's played a lot more in this stage, and she's had a pretty decent amount of impact as well. She's had a lot of kills. She's been getting into the building a lot and having a really nice impact in terms of kills and just overall impact in every single round that she's playing.
Apparently, Maddie's also tied for second for most kills in the league. Really? Who's the highest, Dapper? I'm surprised none of them are any of the Silly Slinkies players, actually. Maybe because they have to figure out a way to divide the kills equally amongst them. Because all five of them will run around the map and kill everyone. But yeah, that .99 KPR is impressive from Maddie. Last week's MVP, though, is Adriella. 13 and 12 in her match, a .98 KPR, which, again, is nothing to scoff at. That is very, very nearly 1 kill per round. She was instrumental in their 8-6 win up against Wildcard, who, of course, as we know, have dropped down to, I believe, 6th place.
Yeah, we've got our map vetoes ready as well. Chalet being taken out early is no surprise to me as well. Yippee! That is a very strong, or a very commonly banned map by Meep. It's actually been the first map that they've banned through 3 of their 4 matchups. We're going to end things up on Skyscraper, and I was told before we got in here, this is the first time in all of Project Harmony that we're going to go to Skyscraper. So really exciting to see these ladies get onto this map for the very first time, and I'm curious as to how they play out. Obviously, we see in other T3 leagues, it's very defender-sided, but from what I was looking at, Project Harmony overall has been pretty even as well.
Yeah, and in the first season of Harmony, it was all like Villa, Oregon Club. And then, of course, Villa got removed from the map pool and got kind of replaced by Border. So we've still had a mostly 3-map pool in Harmony. But yeah, the Skyscraper pick, and we just saw Bank too. To follow that up with Skyscraper is super exciting. I know there's not a lot of love Skyscraper, even like in T2 and T1. You either love it or you hate it. I know Silly Slinkies probably want to bring it out because they are the most experienced team in the league, so they're probably trying to leverage that on a more complex map like Skyscraper and take advantage of the fact that, if they can get 2 or probably get 3, if they get 3 or more attacks on this opening half of Sky, the round is, or the map is pretty much won.
Yeah, we've got our operator bans coming out now. Meep going to take Ace off the board first. That's no surprise to me. That is their permaban. They've banned Ace every single time that they played a game this stage of Project Harmony, so not going to have that hard preparation of this game. Dokkaebi as well off the board. Silly Slinkies, I imagine they'll ban Fenrir here as well. Dokkaebi and Fenrir have been their standard permabans throughout this entire regular season. And of course, Fenrir, one of the strongest defenders in the game. So no surprise that they want to get rid of it, just because of the fact that you can use those dreadnoughts to kind of cut off a lot of choke points and give a lot of information to the defense. So we'll kind of see if they lean into that. And indeed, there you go.
Love the Fenrir ban. Hate watching him. He's really annoying. He's annoying to play against, and honestly, he's annoying to watch because just when you think someone's about to get a swing, they'll just get blinded. But Ace W Fenrir, pretty normal for Skyscraper so far. We'll now have to see a lot of reliance on the Thermite and the Hibana. Maybe a Maverick, because bandit tricking is pretty popular here. The Solus to round things out does mean, though, that Valkyrie and Azami are still left up. So is Cade. And this is a very hard breach-centric match, or map, especially in the very, very beginning of the round. Once you have the wall open, it's not really an issue, but that's the hard part. What do you mean? What info? What are you talking about?
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. This guy Dapper needs to take his meds. Anyway, so as I'm sure everyone who actually watches this league has noticed, every team has like 8 goddamn players. So we don't know who's actually going to be playing until we actually load into the lobby. So it looks like Silly Slinkies today is going to be mine, Mari, Marm, Goddess, and Lauren. That's Ivy. And on Meep is Adriella, Acerala, Kelp Cat, Ellie, and I don't know how to... Is that Arminia? Arminixa? Because I don't want to say like Armenia, like the country.
Your guess is as good as mine. We'll go with Armenia, I guess, until told otherwise.
Let me see. Does Wikipedia have something different for Meep?
Locate and defuse a bomb.
Nope. Yeah. I don't know if the X is supposed to be pronounced. I'm sure someone in chat will tell us. For now, I think I agree. We'll just say Armenia. Oh wait, is it Armin?
That would make sense.
Wait, let me look in Discord. I forgot. I can totally just look at the Discord and check their names.
I mean, a lot of times you do see players just kind of add a little bit of an extra thing on the end of their name, like Cyber. He has that like Cybers on it.
All right,
Just
that did
kind of an
not
example
help.
that comes to mind.
Her Discord username is also Armin IXA. So I don't know. Whatever. Arminia it is.
Well, we've got action going on right now. Silly Slinkers have started working their way in towards the office side of the map. They've done a pretty good job so far clearing things out. They're working their way in towards Patio, and mine is going to start working his way in. Had an initial engagement potentially coming out with Arminia, the player that you and I had been kind of yapping about the name for a minute. But opening kill is going to be Ellie getting off the board first. Trade's coming in over towards Drum, and it's going to leave us in a 3 versus 3. Really, that tends to favor the defense, honestly, because of the fact that you've lost your 2 primary entries, and you haven't really given up any of that late round execute utility on the side of Meep.
That's Kelcat Maddie playing on that mezzanine, getting 2 really important picks onto the 2 entries, but very quickly reaggresses into the sightline of Goddess. Sorry, that's not actually Maddie. That was the other SAS operator. Got confused with the other SMG-11. That was Acerala Adriella, the 3rd A name on this goddamn team. There to get yet another refrag. 2 versus 2. Mari and Goddess up against Adriella and Maddie with over a minute remaining. Plenty of info still available too. Goddess has a drone. Mari still has both flashbangs and smokes, so they can force their way in. Of course, should they lay down those smokes, they'll have to be careful of Adriella, but both her and Maddie do also have C4s. If a plant attempt does come through, they don't necessarily need to straight up engage. Bit of a wasted C4 there, looking to find the kill on the Goddess, but she'll have to settle just for a bit of damage. Adriella looks away at the wrong moment, and that allows Mari to begin to push up. Now all down to Maddie, stuck in a corner. They know where she is, and Goddess with a 2nd kill on the round to give Silly Slinkies the 1st point.
I love that from Silly Slinkies. 2 versus 2, no problem. They send their 2 attackers in from 2 different spots and create a crossfire on the final 2 defenders, and they did a beautiful job of isolating those gunfights, making sure that they ended that out in a 2 versus 0. And that's a good sign for Silly Slinkies, as, like we talked about a minute ago, this map, very difficult to attack on, so the fact that they've already got one of their attacks on the board is going to be a good sign for them heading into the later portions of this game. And another thing worth noting is those entry engagements as well. You can see right here on this replay. as they started to work their way in through those crucial choke points you see towards the middle of the map, they ended up in a 3 versus 3, and a lot of times you see attacking teams struggle to clear these areas. So the fact that they were able to get an equal man count here, it was crucial to their late round efforts as well.
All in all, though, I was impressed at how well Meep was able to keep up with the trades. I remember, at the beginning of this season and even all through last season, Silly Slinkies, and then as they were known before, the dreaded Gatekeepers,
5 seconds left.
their strength lied in the fact that no one could really hold a candle to them when it came to gunfights. Like, they just had their way with everyone they came across, and there was very, very rarely a solid response. So great sign from Meep, really taking the fight to Silly Slinkies there, letting them know that no, you will not be able to just walk in on us and do whatever you want.
Back into the action for round number 2, and it'll be pretty much the exact same thing, pretty much duplicate of round number 1. You're going to see this office clear coming in again from Silly Slinkies, and I like to see them do this again because of the fact that they did such a great job of their time management in the previous attempt, where they had plenty of time to focus their efforts on the site. Even though they ended up losing 2 players in the early round, they still had plenty of time to work it down to that 2 versus 2 that we saw, and end up playing and setting up their crossfires like I mentioned a minute ago. It seems like Meep are going to be a little bit more passive this time when it comes to the challenge. They've fallen back a little bit more towards the site and allowed Silly Slinkies to kind of work their way up towards this dragon and drum area a little bit more, I guess, uncontested. While they still do have the bodies, they're not as aggressive as we potentially saw them in the first round.
By the way, I told you Chad would tell us. Apparently, our Minix's name is Alex. And in protest, I'm going to refuse to call her that, because if you want to be called by a name, then put it somewhere. Adriel is our first frag, and Arminia with the second. Lauren attempting to walk her way up the black stairs gets thwarted. Maddie with a follow-up C4 looking to catch someone, does not work, and the Aruni loses the fight in Geisha, meaning that despite the opening pick going the way of Meep, Silly Slinkies still have the advantage and make that twofold as Marmalade walks up, gets a kill before being quickly refragged. It's still Acerala and Arminia, and they looks like both of their positions are now known. Of course, with Acerala getting that kill and Arminia shooting that drone, the plant now going down. Acerala, I think, with a 1-tap, the plant goes down, and now the Legion finds herself in a 1v2 post-plant.
Acerala working her way up here. She has potentially a player lined up on the bomb chassis, but going to choose to rotate just a little bit. Trapped in this corner at the top of black stairs. This is obviously not a very good position to be in, but she's going to be allowed to slip by now, work her way back into the site. Coming out. Still had a hard breach left in the pocket to give themselves an extra line of sight, and it's going to pay dividends. It's going to be Mari to find that final kill, and Silly Slinkies to start things off with a 2-0 lead.
Mari, I love you for that. I love the mid post plant thermite on the wall, just to give themselves another angle, the angle that she ended up killing the Legion from. Yeah, W cost and util. Excellent work, Mari. Excellent work. You at least, I mean, because if that round ended, she wouldn't have used any of her breaching charges, so I guess she had to get it in. Silly Slinkies up 2-0. Again, the trade game from Meep. Not terrible up until it really got down to the wire, and that's kind of the trouble you have on defense. So when an attack loses a body, it's important in terms of utility. When the defense loses a body, it's important in terms of position, because now there's going to be an angle that's no longer covered, and Silly Slinkies did a great job of identifying that, and it was drum / main stairs / wave, where I believe it was Marmalade that walked her. Once she got this kill on the Aruni, she knew, all right, I'm free to just kind of walk in and pick off this player on the main stairs. Acerala, sure, again, had the refrag, but in not actively covering the cross, Maddie, her life was forfeit for that 1v1. And from there, none of the remaining defenders were actually inside of A site. Silly Slinkies with an easy plant.
Easy is definitely one way to put it. I mean, I'm not sure where Kelpcat was looking there on the restaurant stairs. Could have definitely been in a little bit better of a position, potentially at close range with a shotgun to shut down Marmalade as she swung through there. But still, it's just those tiny little things that you see in these rounds that end up making a big difference. And we've got a little bit of a difference in this round as well. We're going to see Office and Exhibition being brought out for the first time by Meep. And one thing that I'd like to mention is the presence of the Two-Brow. You've got the Two-Brow paired with the Bandit to potentially slow down the attack from Silly Slinkies. You can use it to not only deny hard breach, but also deny map control as well. Not going to do too much, at least for the moment, as I believe the house wall is going to be opened up by the exothermic. So Silly Slinkies, despite the presence of the tuber on the van, are still making good time and good use of their utility as well.
Barrier active. 2%.
Silly Slinkies. You gotta get rid of the electricity. So here's the MP. Armenia, they're not playing close on the wall. Oh, but they gave her time to come back! What a blunder.
Oh.
No, Oh, wait, hold on. They have a tuber out. All good. Because she can put this on. Oh, wait, I don't know if the thermite was already... I think it's too late. Because the allied gadget comes back like a second and a half or something. After the Zoto canister, the thermite was too far gone. Armenia not playing close to the wall means that the wall gets opened. Honestly, a minute and a half with a tuber arcade and a bandit up is not bad.
No, it's definitely not, and that's given Silly Slinkies plenty of options for how they want to attack this. They're just going to walk in towards the top of house and find an opening kill. It's going to be traded back, though, like you mentioned. Meep have done a pretty good job in the trade game so far. Well, as I say, it's going to favor Silly Slinkies heavily, as Armenia's now left in a 1 versus 2. Hang on a minute, make it a 1 versus 1, as Mari's on low HP as well. This is definitely doable for the Bandit. Inside of the site, Mari going to attempt this plan out, and it's going to give Armenia time to reposition C4 in pocket. There's still plenty of time to work with. There's still just about a minute left, so this heavily favors the defense as Armenia can just wait. So she's just going to sit here and allow this plant to go down. Question is, will Mari decide to rotate out of the building here? Armenia being very slow here, very cautious, not wanting to give up the game and walk into an angle that she's not ready for. And for the last, it seems like eternity, they've just been playing ring around the rosy around this single spot. Mari allowed to escape the C4 way too late. This is definitely now favoring the side of Silly Slinkies as this time is really getting close to expiring.
Oh, but she kills her!
Oh my gosh.
I thought, dude, as soon as Mari exited the building there, I thought it was over. But Mari, instead of playing super passive, I'm pretty sure you could watch that plant spot from the rappel. And instead of just vaulting over, she decides to stand her ground. That gives Armenia the opportunity to swing, especially with that fast rate of fire MP7 and how low Mari was. What a clutch. I'll call her Alex now. She's earned it after that one. 4 kills, and I believe the 1v3. Alex has earned our respect. I think it's safe to say. I'll call her by her real name. T going to be the next site. We can look back on this round. Again, the Bandit, I think, should have probably been playing closer, especially with no one actively denying from below, so the Zoto canister was far too late, as we see from the replay. But even then, again, Meep's ability to, not necessarily the whole team's ability to trade out, because a lot of them got caught off guard, especially the opening pick here, but see, Alex with a kill right there. Mine having a little bit of a mid-off with Ellie. But again, if we remember, as soon as Mine gets this kill, what happens? A refrag from the player coming in through Dragon. Instantly refrag herself by Marmalade, and then Alex, they've got no idea where she is. Really, really well played.
And that 1v3 was huge for a variety of reasons. Not only did they get that round, and it was a big clutch by Alex, and indeed, we are going to call her that now. She's earned the respect. But like you mentioned when we first got into this match, if the attack had gone up early and gotten plenty of those rounds, a 3-0 start would have been such a devastating blow to the side of Meep, because like you talked about, or like we talked about, this is such a defender-sided map. And had it been a 3-0 start, Meep would have been significantly on the back foot, not just for the rest of this first half, but for the entire game as a whole, because they would have had to replicate that success of Silly Slinkies. So now they've given themselves a little bit of breathing room. They can rotate back to T like you talked about, and they're going to try to pick up their second round. And I like this from Meep. They're being way more aggressive on the roam. They've sent Kelpcat way over towards Exhibition to try and slow down the early advance from Silly Slinkies.
Silly Slinkies, yet another full clear. This time, Meep put in a position to challenge this directly. Ellie seems to be the first player to get aggressive, takes a lot of damage, now down to below 50, but luckily able to get away and live another day. Positioning herself now inside of Drum. But Silly Slinkies have been given a lot of control thanks to that fallback. In just about a minute 15, they have the entire eastern portion of the map to themselves.
It's a lot more of a split take here by Silly Slinkies. They've dedicated a lot more of their forces towards other parts of the map as well, not just this office and exhibition take, as Mine walks up and finds another freebie on the player sitting top drum, and that's a huge man advantage now for Silly Slinkies. Where's the cover? Mine's just walking all the way through the site. Goddess finds another one. It's a 2 versus 5. Third attempt on this T site has not gone well at all for the side of Meep, and the plant's going to be going down by Mari as well. They've lost full control of their site. They're going to have to retake now. 5 versus 2. This is not very winnable. They do find one pick, however, to make it a little bit more manageable, and a second one might be in Acerella's crossfire, where she doesn't look quite the wrong way, and it's going to give Mine the opportunity to find that pick and shut her down. All up to Adriella now in the 1 versus 4. Situated inside of Geisha, and it's going to be Marmalade to shut her down. That's the third attack being won by Silly Slinkies, and that might have just put them in a fantastic position for the second half.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Silly Slinkies does, right? This time, we saw a lot more. I feel like I might be wrong, but it was a lot more noticeable this time, the drone work that Silly Slinkies was doing, forcing back the Warden and the rest of the roam with said drones, taking that control, and then Mine having a drone with her to follow up into T, allowing her to take all that space. And I mean, once she got the kill on the Maddie, I'm really surprised Ellie didn't even bother turning around. I mean, once your player over by the mezzanine door gets killed, you can't play that aggressively in drum anymore. There's Mine's third. The plant, again, pretty easy, because by the time it seems like by the time the alarm bells start ringing for Meep, figuring out that Silly Slinkies are getting aggressive, there's no one left to play in T. We saw it round 1 as well, where Silly Slinkies were just trading back and forth with Meep, happy to stay at an even man count, and what was important was the positioning. Both of the defenders who were left in round 1 stuck in Geisha and Karaoke, and we saw the same thing happen again.
Well, not wanting to potentially risk that for the 4th time, we'll see Meep rotate their focus down towards Kitchen and Barbecue. And while I like this from them, the only thing that worries me is you have to play this site a lot similar to how you play Karaoke and T, just because of the fact you have to focus a lot of your player focus up towards Geisha and the Karaoke area as well, because of the fact that so much of that floor is destructible right over the top of the site. And if Silly Slinkies are able to get that control, they can start working Goddess in there with the Buck and make it an absolute nightmare for the anchors playing on the site as well.
I don't know how I feel about going straight to Barbecue instead of trying T again, just because Barbecue is very dependent on how well you can hold upstairs, and so far Meep haven't really demonstrated that they can do that. They were able to on Office, but only thanks to a clutch. I mean, I guess, don't want to go to T 3 times and lose it 3 times. You might as well shake it up. I'm just a little bit worried that once Silly Slinkies work their way in, there's no going back for Meep. And already we see the Zofia starting to lurk her way down. Does she know about Adriella on the black stairs, though? You got a swing vigil. Down goes Mine. Opening pick for Meep. And no response just yet from Silly Slinkies. Never mind.
Well, Ivy's going to work her way in and find one pick, but get traded back out immediately. Only half the round has gone by now, and we've already lost 3 bodies, and it seems like Silly Slinkies haven't really done much in terms of gaining this top floor control. They've just kind of bypassed it, decided to shift their focus horizontally instead. And while it's worked out pretty well so far, we've seen them with an operator like Adriella finding that kill have a little bit of a hole in their drone work. And, well, as I say that, they are going to start shifting their focus upstairs, but it might be a little bit too late. They only have a minute to work with, and while they've lost another body, they seem a little bit uncoordinated here.
Adriella strikes again for 2. A menace on the Vigil. Marmalade gets herself inside a pantry, but they know about it. We saw the dock of Alex slowly looking like she wanted to peek over that B bomb chassis, but instead falls back into Barbecue with her teammate to play the 2v1. We still don't know where the hell Adriella is. In fact, she just got healed by the dock, and right after supporting her teammate, Alex swings through to get the headshot, and Meep are still in this game.
And when I said uncoordinated, I don't necessarily mean the fact that they weren't communicating with each other. It just seemed like they kind of got a little bit too spread out. You saw Adriella find that opening pick, and the player that was with, I believe it was Mine who died first, had rotated over towards the restaurant instead of playing outside of Kitchen. And if that player had been in a little bit better of a position, they could have immediately found the refrag onto Adriella. And even then, if you had a player at the top of Black Stairs as well, if you had been focusing your attention towards the top floor, there's another opportunity for you to get your refrag. So they had been a little bit closer together in terms of where they'd positioned all of their attackers. They definitely could have gotten away with that round a little bit easier, instead of just walking into 1v1 gunfights and losing them out like we saw on a multitude of occasions. So there's just a few small things that they could have changed up. But still, it's a good sign, like you said, from Meep that they are able to find their second round. And now they have a perfect opportunity to try to tie this game up on their second attempt at offense.
I really think this is going to be the make or break moment here. If you allow Silly Slinkies to have 4 rounds on the attack, then you swap over to Skyscraper defense, which is overwhelmingly one of the most dominant halves a team could have on any map. Just going, statistically, it's pretty much over. Meep really need this third round. And their hopes and dreams in this map might live and die with Maddie on the Clash. This is a huge shakeup from what we've seen so far from Meep, where they're happy to extend over to the other side of the map, meet Silly Slinkies right when they go through with their guns, but now they've got some info with Maddie, they've got that indestructible shield in front of her, and really the only thing that Silly Slinkies are going to have to directly counter the Clash is the Zoe with those stuns. Technically, the EMPs, yes, will disable her shield, but they won't buffer her like the Zoe does.
Not only that, but we've seen Silly Slinkies be really aggressive in the early round when it comes to just taking map control, so having Kelpcat on that Clash as well is going to help slow that focus down a little bit. And while you do have this Clash now, you've sacrificed the 2 rounds and also Kate as well, and that's going to allow the office wall to get open wide up. Alex not in a position to deny that once again. It's going to give, if nothing else, some phantom pressure, and it's going to make Meep have to focus their guns a little bit more on this spot, but it seems like Silly Slinkies are putting a lot of focus on this, and Mine's able to find an opening pick as well from outside of Exhibition, so it's a great start, and that's the Bandit as well. Not as big of a pick because of the fact that you already lost the opening wall.
And the plant is going down.
Yeah, the plant.
Off of that kill, I mean, that was the only player that could have stopped that plant, and now Ellie's dead. Mari getting off the plant, I think from, was that from below through a C4 hole? Adriella, she's not able to run amok as the Vigil this time. Acerala gets downed. It's all Maddie on the Clash. She's got 1 kill, but she needs 4 more, and on 1 HP as the slowest defender in the game. Lauren will put her out of her misery. And Silly Slinkies with quite the attack, opening up that main wall, seeing no one playing behind cups or in that hallway right next to the door. Once Mine got the kill on Alex behind that desk from the sword window, there was no longer any defenders who could directly deny that plant with the cutoff Silly Slinkies was holding. What a great call off the info.
Oh, absolutely. And not only that, but for me, they've had a great idea when they brought the Clash, but I don't really think they actually utilized the Clash much. You can see on this replay here, Kelpcat was playing really far back, and you typically want your Clash to kind of be in the face of the attackers, slowing them down. And you want to have the rest of your defenders just kind of playing off the information your Clash is feeding you. So maybe a little bit of a misplay there with bringing out that operator. Just lack of information there as to the fact that Silly Slinkies was heavily focusing their attention on that office wall. And I believe that might have been part of the reason they were able to get that plant down so early on. So once again, it's just these small little mistakes they could be making. Operator positioning is a huge factor. We talked about it a little while ago. Actually, on this site, it was one of the rounds where Meep were defending Teen Karaoke, and we saw them lose bodies very early on. So they didn't have the bodies to watch the restaurant stairs doorway, and that was how I believe Kelpcat as well died early on. So we need to see them do a little bit better job here, especially in the early round of winning these opening engagements, because they haven't been doing that so far.
Now Silly Slinkies get the defensive half. And this is where they can get scary. They love running around. Skyscraper's a good map to do it if the attacking team isn't necessarily the most coordinated. There is a Nomad from Ellie. Once Meep actually get themselves in the building, they won't have to worry as much about a flank. But still, that full frontal aggression from Silly Slinkies is going to be dangerous. That's why Meep are taking their time, droning out, making sure that the coast is clear, and that they're not just walking into the waiting clutches of a rat in a corner. It looks like we have a full rotation. Maybe they were just droning out that side of the map first. I'm curious as to why they're not taking it if they've confirmed it's clear and sending like 3 people over towards Geisha. Well, Adriella has now taken Terrace. Do they have the geisha wall open?
I don't.
They
think
have
so.
they have an exothermic charge used. It is. It is.
No,
open.
it is open. Okay.
There we go.
Well, that's a good start. It at least has given Meep a way into the building, at least near the site. But we saw that Ivy was still roaming over towards the house side of the map, so that's still going to be a thorn in the side of Meep as we get towards the later portions of this round. And they haven't really fully cleared out and taken control of the terrace side of the map either. I mean, you said it. They had 3 players over here, and they're just now getting their bodies into the building and actually starting to take the space. And that's a little bit concerning because of the fact that you mentioned they had spent a lot of time droning it out and they didn't take that space. So it's a lot of wasted manpower, and they could have had a lot more time available to them here if they had done that.
Lauren getting aggressive, though, finding a pick through the open wall as Marmalade found the opener on Acerala. That's 2 deaths for Meep, no response. The only bit of damage was done to Goddess, and I'm pretty sure that was done in the prep phase, so it's not even Meep's guns that caused the loss of HP. Marmalade, a second kill on the round, up against Alex. It's Maddie and Ellie in a 2 versus 5, 30 seconds left. Mari sending her toxic babes out just to waste even more time and deny this angle from Maddie. It's going to be pretty much mean it's all up to that drum push from Ellie, but she is instantly dealt with by Mine. It's all on Maddie. Nice headshot on the Goddess, who was getting a little greedy, but it's a 1v5. Who can blame her? 1 gas canister still left in the pocket of the smoke, too, but they won't need it. Lauren with her second kill through the same wall, only on the other side this time. Silly Slinky's now up 5-2.
Yeah, Ivy ran a full marathon there from one side of the map to the other, finding all of those kills and helping secure a 3-round lead now for Silly Slinkies. And I'm really starting to get worried for Meep. They seem to be playing a little bit scared, if I'm being honest. Like I talked about, the fact that they had done a good job of actually droning out the map, but they didn't take the map control, which kind of indicates that they might be scared to try and face Silly Slinkies head on, because they might be a little bit worried about the fact that you've got a player like Marmalade, who's seemingly not necessarily unkillable, but she's having a fantastic day. So Meep's guns need to do a little bit better job of coming alive in the early round. That's been kind of a common theme.
I think their guns need to come alive in general. Alex is the only member positive right now. And you have Ellie currently down 0-7, having died every single round. Her and Acerala are the only players so far in the lobby who have died in every single round played thus far. And Ellie is the only one who has yet to find a kill. We'll see if the Amaru does her justice. Silly Slinkies now bringing the Mira, someone that Meep, strangely enough, opted to ignore, which I was a little bit surprised by. She's not necessarily the most popular operator on this map. She is very good here on Office. This tends to be where you see her played the most. They do have Blitz and Amaru, though. Yeah, I'm expecting a rush here. I just don't know from where. I assume Ellie's going up the hatch, right? That's why she's droning down below. But where's the rest of the rush coming from? Because they go through Sword Window. They're pretty dead. And it's going to be tough to get this wall open because half of it is soft with feet holes. It's not going to be safe.
Yeah, not only that, but you've got that mirror window that Marmalade placed down to actually try and help secure that wall from being opened up. So it's going to be a really tough time for Meep to actually get this open, especially because of the fact that they don't have any ranged hard breaching options. They'll have to get Alex in a position where she can actually place down that exothermic, and that's not going to be easy to do, especially because you've got the plan. You've got the wall open, but they've got the smokes going in, so they're going to be able to potentially get it open. Alex needs a lot of damage, but as I say all that, the wall will be opened up, and this is going to give them the opportunity to get in the building.
Still, though, those feet holes, it's a safe angle for the Mirror to play behind as Maddie looks to work her way in. Adriella gets the opening pick on Tamari. That's going to cause the Mirror to start to watch her back if it was from the other direction, but Maddie gets finished off. Goddess with a shot on Ellie from downtown, killing the Amaru, attempting to come up through the hatch, but Acerala right next to the Mirror window is getting the plant down. She doesn't hear it getting opened or just doesn't react. I don't know what happened there. At least Alex all alone, every single one of her teammates dead in the bomb site. 1 versus 3, case down in probably the most dangerous spot imaginable. Somehow gets the headshot onto Lauren there, just shooting at the wind. Now needs 2 more. She's got a whole minute left. She's got info to work with. She's got a drone in pocket. And that mirror window that they were so worried about is no longer closed. Mine does have an ACOG, and Alex is very low on HP, up against not only an ACOG, but the fast fire rate of that Vector as well. Mine, up on that elevated angle, spots her from the pixel. Look at that. Alex, I mean, she just had no chance fighting that.
Beautiful shot there by Mine. You said it. And Meep had a good idea there. They had the right idea as to how they were going to deal with that mirror window. They used the smokes really well to close it off, and they got the wall open with pretty good time. They even got the opening pick. I mean, everything indicated that that could have been successful for them. But just a little bit misuse of utility and a hero play from Marmalade with the mirror ended up shutting all of that down, and that man advantage that they had fell apart really early on. It's just... It's a little bit disappointing, honestly, because they had all of the options available for them, but you see Kelpcat just runs in a little bit more than necessarily she needed to. She just kind of needed to be a distraction there and allow the rest of her team to get in and get the plan down. That was kind of what they wanted to do, but got a little bit nearsighted. They ran into the site a little bit further than they needed to and ended up dying because of it. And now they find themselves facing down match point, needing to win 4 rounds in a row, but not just 4 rounds in a row. 4 attacks in a row. That is a Mount Everest if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. The biggest question mark for me in that round was the plant attempt there. The mirror window got popped. I mean, there was a lot going on, don't get me wrong, but a mirror window getting opened is one of like the loudest and most identifiable noises in the whole game. Right? Like, I'm not alone in that.
So, yeah.
And she just sat there. She was like, "No, I'll be fine. This is fine." It was not fine. I mean, the round was kind of
definitely not
over to begin with there, because she would have been forced into a different plant spot either way. Like, and nowhere was really safe, but it was just funny, I guess. More funny than anything that she just stood there. Planting. But yeah, 6-2, like you said, 5 attack wins in a row is necessary for Meep if they want to win in regulation. 4 in a row if they just want to stay alive. Oh wait, no. I lied. They can't win in regulation anymore. They're 6 points. What am I saying? They do need 4 in a row to guarantee OT.
Well.
Yeah. Open that wall.
Barbecue.
I love doing
concept. Hey, I mean,
Alex
you've got 4-round lead. You can afford to do stuff like this.
Oh.
And it's going to start off really well.
Oh, a third? Oh, come back, Ellie. Come back. Oh, a third
trying to
anyway.
Find a kill. Fourth? Hang on.
Oh.
No.
Tess. No. All good. Lauren's got her back. Now goes Ellie trying to come in from the other side. Marmalade is actually our first casualty. Mine is Resable. Someone's also outside. That's Goddess. Mari does not res mine. She did not deserve it, apparently, after the 3 opening picks. Ivy, Lauren gets aggressive, though. It's a buddy ace between mine and Lauren. All on the other side of the map, and that's going to do it 7-2. A very comfortable and dominant-looking win from Silly Slinkies, and they reclaim first place.
Yep, they get the full 3 points of the game, and a pretty nice boost to their round differential as well. And, I mean, what a showing by not just mine, but Marmalade as well. They've both had a fantastic performance today. I mean, the Silly Slinkies roster as a whole just proved why they belong to be at the top of the standings. And honestly, you said they won the first season. After watching that game, I haven't watched all of the teams play. I mean, I watched today's games, but I'm scared. I don't necessarily know who's going to be able to stop them.
Yeah, I was going to say, you see why now. Yeah, I mean, it's tough because I feel like Women's Siege has such a massive gap between it, right? Like we talk about all the time how the gap between T1 and T2 play was, I think it's closed a little bit in recent times, but it used to be like pretty damn big. The gap in Women's Siege between the women who actually play at that level and the rest is even wider, just because not because women aren't good, but just because the amount of players is so much smaller than you have in I guess other leagues. I don't want to call them men's leagues, but typically, like in Pro League, I don't think there's any women in NAL right now. Marmalade was the last one, but there's just so many. How do you say these grammatically? There's a lot fewer women players who play comp. So that's the point of Harmony. We're trying to close that gap. But for now, Silly Slinkies look to stay on top. But who knows? Girls on Fire, they're looking pretty damn good too. So I'm excited for playoffs, because right now, top 4 is Silly Slinkies, Girls on Fire, Admin Abuse, and Meep, because they're still in 4th. But Thirst Trap, do they play Thirst Trap?
I think they already played Thirst Trap, if I remember correctly.
No,
from
Meep played
on.
Thirst Trap in the last week. They play 2 weeks from now, and that, I don't know, that could decide 4th place. But anyway, Nomical, thank you for joining me.
Of course.
That's it. We're done. We'll see you guys next week. Next Saturday for another 3 games. I forgot there's only 3 games a day now, not 4, because of, whatever happened. Something happened. We only have 3 games now. So we'll see you all next week. Thank you all for watching. We love you. Have a great night.
Attackers need to protect. Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser. Recovered the bomb diffuser. Attackers are activating. 10 seconds remaining. Five seconds left. I've got my eye on you. Seconds remaining. 10 seconds remaining. Attackers activated. drone. Defenders have located the diffuser. Attacker's bomb diffuser has been dropped. Activating the diffuser. Bomb located by attacker.